right, we're off. Gonna phone the wife, see if the kids got off okay there, and we will talk over. We'll throw it over to Sharif and Joe. It's the Midday Show coming at you right now.
Get him, Joe. Oh, baby. Boom! Greetings and salutations. Beautiful people, welcome to the Midday Show. That right there with the front double bicep is your boy Joey Options, and I'm Sharif. And what a morning it has already been on these here markets. Shout out to YouTube for bringing people in a little bit quicker. Shout out to KK. Shout out to M. Dane Garros. Sorry, Black Sheep Trades. All these new edited names are making it real hard to read. Shout out to DJ2EM, Greg Moore, the OG Gorev. We got Moon Rockets as well. Shout out to Bax, Michael, we'll just go Michael. Baby Hands Donnie. I happen to love that name.
Baby Hands?
I don't even want to know. Do you remember Donald Trump and Marco Rubio when they were going against each other in 26 primary? You called him Little Marco? Oh, yeah. No. Anyway, we got Susie Fox. We got Setinder. This is Laser. Shout out to Kirk D. Mary S. Lyman. Ayo, Lewis. Ayo, Adrian.
That's what I say all the time. Ayo.
Right? Gray Worm. Shout out to Gray Perm. We got, who else, man? Mike DeRider, the OG. 66 Ramel. 2 New York cents. What's going on in New York City, bro? We need answers over here, man. You guys about to have, yeah, you know what's going on over there. Shout out to Jaguar Knot. I like that one. One more here, Joseph.
One more.
Mr. Ian. Spelled I-Y-E-N. I-Y-E-N.
All right, Mr.
Good morning,
Ian.
everybody.
Yeah. What's going on, everybody? I hope everyone had a solid weekend. The only question I have for Obi is if he likes his pineapple upright or upside down.
Oh.
And if you know,
The pressing questions.
If you know,
He's not going to answer.
he's not going to answer that one. But if you know, you know. But I mean, as for trades, guys, I haven't really put anything. I haven't at all put anything on this morning. So let's see what we got going on. I mean, I did post up some offers on Tesla. Sorry, some bids on Tesla. They didn't get filled, and now it's starting to go in my favor. But that's all right. We're now trading above the volume-weighted average price and heading into some key resistance zones. But I was posted up down here, and then sure enough, I just didn't catch that fill. I didn't want it anywhere else. But there we go, heading towards the top end of this resistance right here, guys. So let's see what happens with Tesla. But something happened there, or maybe not, but Robinhood just got a big volume spike and a volatility spike right there as well, too, guys. But what an absolute monster run. I thought we were going to head into 90s here today on this session, but we just get up to an 89, and that is it. So there we go. I think Adara's got some news. I'm just waiting for the go-ahead on that one. Got to make sure I'm logged in, and Sharif, I am logged in. So if you hear,
we're good. Yeah,
we're good to go. Are we going? We're going.
Bang.
Let's go.
I don't actually know what's happening there, but I do know that we have Robinhood's To Catch a Token. Yes, that is the real name. That event started at 11 a.m. Eastern, so about 3 minutes ago. I'm not seeing any headlines from the event. I'm going to try to log in and watch it, but just so you guys know, this volume spike happening right at the start of the To Catch a Token event could be related to the To Catch a Token event. Back to you.
Thank you, Adara, very much for that. Adara, all our eyes and ears. You guys know how it works around here. She tells us what's going on, and then we make the decisions as to what to trade. So here's the situation. We're in 3 positions at the moment, all small cap gappers, all positive so far, but I don't know how to feel about KLTO. I'll get to the one that I don't like as much in a hot second. The one that I do like, my very good friend for the moment, GNS. Here we go. We've taken out all my prints. I have no more prints posted. So let's go ahead and post best beak wetter 47s there. We're going to post at 48. And then we're also going to post at 55, because if we squeeze above that $0.50, we could see some aggression move to the high side over here. So GNS, let's see how far we can go on this one. I don't know why it's not posting at 55s. I just asked it to. Something's going on with the software lately. I think it's on the MX network. It's always a little bit, so we're going to keep an eye out on that one. GNS taking out highs. We're above 50%. We just got to the high day of a 149. Be on the lookout for a $0.50 break here on GNS. Very aggressive, and it's an MX stock, so these ones get parabolic, but they're also quick to give it back, okay? That's the thing. So be ready for the mean reversion trade on GNS. Don't fall in love with this, so be careful with this one. KLTO, I'm flattening out, break even on the wrist. I don't like the way that this one looks. NFE, this one is holding at the volume weighted average price. I got a better price by taking the dip trade there. So we've got shares on this one, and it's moving to the high side, Joseph Wilson. All right, let's see if we can get some more prints. We're posted up next at 42s and then 45s. It probably behooves me to take closer, or to take prints closer to the $0.50. So I'm going to go ahead and wait for that and see what we get there. So it's GNS. It's a GNS show. There goes GNS through the $0.50. I don't know why it's not taking my posts. There we go. Now we can post at the half, a little bit above the $0.50. So that's what I'm keeping my eye on, guys. We're in 2 trades. We started off with 3, but KLTO is looking awfully flat bottom breakish. So it's the NFE and GNS show. I got more to talk about, but I want to.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
Go ahead.
No, if you want to go another second, I'm going to pull something up. I'll just give you the thumbs up when we're good to go.
Sounds good. All right. Here's what I'm looking at, guys. The ones that I'm trading are by no means the strongest of the bunch. They're not. BMNR is insane. It's 450%, Joseph. It's found support here every single time, it looks like, at the 10 exponential moving average on the 5. Alas, it's very expensive, it's very parabolic, and, well, you know how these ones get when they get more expensive from the bottom like this, it gets spready. So this one is a little bit spready right now. It's moving 20, 30 pennies at a time. Be careful, harder to manage risk on these ones. There's also NCPL, 25% in Greensville, taking out highs. We just got into highs, 715 HOD. Another one that's been insanely respectful of the 10 exponential moving average on the 5. One more here before we send it back to your boy Joey O. $15 HOD, looking awfully flat top breakish here on your boy NEGG. Once, twice, OB thrice, 4, 5. We're gonna halt down here. So your boy NEG is making me look bad. It's about to flat top break through 15, and now it's going to hold down at 1450. That just shows you the prohibitive spread. But look exactly where this is going to hold down. We got one hold off the 10. We got another hold off the 10, and this is literally at the 10 EMA. Something tells me that flat top break at 15 is going to come whether we like it or not. It's just about whether or not we can get the right price. False halt at 1450, Joseph. Right back up into 14 3/4. It's probably an opportunity for me to weasel into this one. What do you got, Mike?
All right, yeah, this is what I wanted to talk about here, guys. And we're just going back to, see, this is the thing, right? You want to be able to find a system that's repeatable. Well, I was telling I was telling Sharif and a couple of my friends, I sold some on my position here, so go check me out on X, at tradertv Joseph. But let's talk about NVDA and Google, all right? So now we can see from a couple weeks ago, 145, that's where we've seen that concentration of open interest. We struggled to break and hold that. As soon as that selling was done and those contracts were lifted, we now seen it being moved to 157, 150, and 160. But now let's take a look at this week's. We have a new week here, so it's really important for us to focus on what we got going on. And as we're talking about it, watch the open interest at 160 grow. What is that telling me? The chances of us breaking and holding 160 are relatively slim. So you sell some shares and then you wait to buy some things back lower. 1 second before we go to Adair, because I want to touch on this because it's really important. What happened with the likes of Google this morning? We've seen it break through some key resistance, open up there, and then it climbed higher to about 182, but then instantly sold off, and now we're trading about 6 points lower than that. Well, where's the concentration of open interest on Google? 180. That's exactly why we sell into strength. And the moves that we've been on since the April lows, you have to start taking some profits. Don't be greedy. Lock in some cash. Adair, what do you got for us?
There's a lot of launches here at this Robinhood event. Again, to catch a token is what it's called. They launched a bunch of new crypto-related products, including stock tokens, layer 2 blockchain, and they've also expanded their crypto suite in EU and the US with perpetual futures. But the other thing that's huge is they actually have launched now in 31 countries across the EU. So big news here for HOOD. We're now kind of chopping around, and I do want to share this image from the event because this is what it looks like. Very fancy European pool event here for HOOD as they have to catch a token. Back to you.
We're matching, Vlad. It was meant to be, brother.
Can I tell you?
Yeah.
Vlad, you know he had that interview on Squawk Box, CNBS the other day.
Yeah.
He's a different guy
He is.
than the guy that I remember coming on webcam during the pandemic. Completely different guy. A lot more confident, that guy, now that he's a zillionaire. You know what I mean?
Money
has a way of
you know what I mean?
changing people there.
You know what I mean? I look at Vlad and I don't know how much I like him, but I like what he's got going on there personally. So it doesn't even matter.
I didn't dislike him.
Yeah, no, not at all. I just like, I don't know what it is, right? You look at that guy, you're like, yeah, I like that guy right there. Vlad's not that guy where he's like, yeah, I like him, you know what I mean? But no, but I like what he's doing in the business. I'm not going to complain about that, right? So, but yeah, guys, so just to focus on these things, also, I can show you guys on X momentarily, but this is why we do it, right? We look for specific signals, and then now let's pull up Google on a daily. I want to take a look on what's going on with this specific underlying asset, especially as we broke through those key resistance zones, but then it was almost like a false break, right? So just be cautious of these things right here. So this is where we went long, boom, and then we closed out about 66% of our position right here. And then now we're just gonna be patient, wait for that the precise entry, you get that pullback. As long as this channel stays intact, I do believe that Google will eventually go and test these all-time highs, considering we're seeing it in the Nasdaq and some of the other larger names here as well too. So we're down roughly about 13.5% from those all-time highs. So be patient, this channel is strong. Until it breaks into the lower end, I think that Google is gonna continue to climb higher and higher. And I actually have some interesting statistics just do with this antitrust and everything with Google and Apple. They've actually seen the search engine decline in the month of April. I know we're heading into July now, but that's really important. But there's some really interesting stuff going on with OpenAI and Google via search, and I think those numbers are very intriguing. This might lead Google to potentially continue this move that it's currently been on this trade.
All right, just moving my stop up on NFE. I don't want to see a lower high on this one, so I'm gonna give it to 22s. Let's go ahead and wait down to 18s. How many shares do we still have left? Okay, so we'll update that, and I have to remove my old stop now that I've updated it over here. Good luck, good luck. All right, keeping my eye on this one. So let's talk about the new position that I've got on now. NEGG. So I perceive this one to possibly be looking for a flat top break. It is very spready, okay? It's got 96 Adira on the ask and 50 on the bid. So I know it's not like, look, it's not
That's pretty wild still.
It's not bad, it's not bad. Just hopefully I don't get blown out on this one. So we'll try to manage risk the best way I can. Again, 65 or so right now, 60, excuse me, on the bid, and 50 on the bid, 97 on the ask. So it's getting wider. Oh boy. So we're going to keep an eye on this one. GNS as well kind of took a bit of a downturn here. Had at that $1.50, it's a 153 high, but the bottoming tail on this current 5-minute candle bouncing exactly off the 10 EMA. So I've layered my orders above that 150 area, looking, pardon me, for a move into that level. The one that I haven't gotten into yet that I really lament not having gotten into is NCPL. So we're in NEGG, but we're not in NCPL. Very similar. I don't want to say similar charts, not really, to be honest. Anyway, double top at 730, but getting well extended away from the 10 EMA, which is actually below $7. This one has got a fantastic stair-step pattern to it. So bull flag number 1, bull flag number 2. We just completed that. Whether or not we get bull flag number 3 or we retrace, your guess is as good as mine. But right now it is at the high. Just got into 731 HOD. So the strength on this one is quite good. Keep your eye out on this one. This could be one of the good ones in the afternoon. The one that I'm worried about right now is NFE. It just pulled back into the volume weighted average price at failed highs. So what we had initially was higher highs and higher lows. We still have that higher low off the volume weighted average price. But look at this candle rejection over here right into 741 or 7 low 40s. It doesn't quite make its way up into that $0.50. So now we've got, yeah, what could be a flat bottom break and a loss of the volume weighted average price, and I still have the majority of this position on. So if it does end up dropping, we'll go negative on it. We haven't extracted enough away from this one to be positive on the move. So that's what I'm keeping my eye out on right now, NFE, to hold the volume weighted average price, and I'm still waiting for that first print here on NEGG. It's not giving up the ghost. That doesn't mean it won't, right? I've seen this story before. This is a risk. me being an NEGG because it is illiquid. And I've been doing that a lot more lately because, you know, sometimes when I get on, the pickings are slim. This one has less than 500,000 shares traded, means it can absolutely be manipulated with a smaller account. So we'll see which way this cookie crumbles. Okay. But there we go, Joseph. BMNR is going to halt to the high side again. It's up 517%. It was just tapping the 10 EMA there. I don't know why I don't trade the easy setups. This was beautiful. 3 candles all off the 10 EMA, and then another high of daybreak. BMNR is on the rampage to the high side. It is halted, so we'll keep an eye out on this one. As I see it, though, there's a new small cap gapper that's weaseled its way onto the scene under GNLN. Up 50, almost 51%. It is halted, Joseph, at 465. So I'm going to have a look at this one.
Good look there, guys. All right, so I'm posted up in this market. We've mentioned this before. I think the longer the consolidation, you chop around, you're not having buyers step in and aggressively selling, or sorry, you have those offers aggressively hitting the tape. So now let's see if we can get this move to the downside. I missed the top end of the range, but if the market decides that it wants to pull back, I'll be happy with accepting 82.30s for the top, for the move lower. But now we're opening up at the lower end of the range through the support levels. Now let's see if we can continue this move, or we're going to get that pullback that we're looking for. But with the likes of Meta, Google, and some of these big names starting to come in, the chances of that are relatively slim. But I'm still going to post up here and get that price, that exactly that precise entry that I'm looking for right now, guys. So we'll be patient on that. With that being said, during this time, let's take a look at some of the top performing sectors in the morning. And it is a shortened week, so I'm curious to what's going on. It's funny, on Thursday, they give us a little bit of a data dump with initial jobless claims, et cetera. So that's going to be interesting here. So we'll get that volatility spike. We like this. But leading the way today is the tech sector. As you can see, we gapped up across multiple names here. So up 0.5%. Financials up about 0.4 there. And then the healthcare also 0.4 as well, too. All right. So we'll look at the bottom 3. The real estate sector, not so hot today, negative 1/3, and then utilities, same thing, negative 1/3, and then closer to about 0.5% down is the consumer discretionary sector, guys. All right, so keep an eye out on that. The financials are doing well. I know the boys were talking about JP Morgan and Company this morning, so yeah, it's looking really good on that front. But here you go. You can see the market starting to head towards the low of the day. If it breaks through this pivot and you see some of these names start to really come in, like we're seeing in Google and on Meta as well too, we can see some more downside, guys. But Adair, what do you got for us?
Well, here's Robinhood. Still, there's some updates that are of note. They have an AI assistant, as it seems like a lot of people do now. There's this called Cortex, and it helps with crypto. So if you're trading in crypto and you're wondering why it's moving, I guess you can just ask Cortex, and Cortex can help you with that. So AI assistant right now seems like specifically with crypto, it doesn't seem like it's a full rollout yet, just a partial rollout for now. I will keep you guys posted, but HOOD right now, nice little bounce here off that 85.50 level, currently trading around 87.50. Back to you.
Okay,
Tell me what you got going on, man.
Hold on, bro. Hold on. Let me print here, bro.
Okay, he's printing, man. Yeah. We're getting. He's rolling right now. He's printing up a storm. Hold on, let's do
boom,
this. Boom, boom, shakalaka. That's it. I'm gonna start calling you Bo, because that was the guy I used to play cards with.
Oh,
boom,
baby.
Boom. All right, show him what you got.
Oh man, GN. I can't even say the ticker. I'm so excited. GNLN. Here's the first entry, Joseph, at the day high. Dang. That was the open. It dipped down to the $0.50. I said, this is it. Yeah. On the micro pullback, as we've been talking, top screen, Joseph added into this position. Boom, 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 all the way into 512. It is halted again to the upside. GNLN up. Big boy, 66.25%. Keep your eye on this one. This is one I just yelled out was the small cap gapper that just weaseled on. Weaseled on to the scene over here. So keep your eye on that. Sorry to keep yelling, but I get excited. And then NEGG, we just took the first print there. So here we go again with 15, Joseph. And there's nobody posted on the level 2. Look at that. One lot. I'm only seeing one lot. Come on. Like the hidden buyers just got to get, bro. I've tried to warn you before.
Warn them.
You're going to get run over. You're going to get run over, my man. It's a matter of time. The ascending wedge doesn't lie. So be careful. I'm kidding, guys. I'm just, having fun here with the stock. So NEGG, we're looking for this one to flat top break through 15. Let's see if it comes. If it comes, fantastic. If it doesn't, it doesn't. So that's the look there. GNS is on its last leg here, Joseph, because if it loses that higher low situation, I've moved up my stop to break even. We're long at 38. So if this one loses that bid, it's all over there. I'm seeing a 1501 official day high now on NEGG, which is interesting because I didn't see the 1501 come in on the time and sale. Oh, there it is for 300 shares, and it came on the D print there. There you go. So you can kind of see that right there. I don't know if you can see that on your side there, but I see it 1501. So that is the official high.
Is that you?
That's not me. No, I didn't get the print. That would have been nice, though.
Yeah,
I didn't get a print.
You know what I mean?
I'm waiting for that flat top break, so that's what I'm kind of waiting for there, Joseph. Last but not least here, NFE, looking to reclaim that 339 area. I'm waiting a little bit above 40, so let's see how this one comes.
Absolutely. Yeah, I mean, we're having a good time, as always, man. I think we say that. See, when I say I don't ask for much, I feel like we always say that we're always having a good time because I think that's the case there. But, yeah, let's see what we got going on here, guys. Go follow your boy at TraderTV, Joseph, and I posted this up this morning here. So just so I'm part of the swing, right? So I told you guys I closed my my IBIT contracts for a small loss, but I also just reduced my positioning in IBIT as well too. Not in the long term, but I just cut that. I had the shares before, took a loss on the contracts, but then I also just closed my share position as well too. So this morning, as soon as I opened my eyes, I seen Google trading at the likes of 182, and then NVDA had a small pop in it as well too. So I took 66% of my Google trade off, and then I also took an additional 20% of my NVDA trade off this morning. So there we go, a fresh start to the morning, to Monday, and I only opened this Google position on previous Monday. So a nice little swing, and I'm gonna look to get involved because I mentioned the laggards here and the likes of Apple, Amazon is still slightly lagging, and then Google. I think there's gonna be a catch-up trade. You just have to be patient, wait for some positive catalyst, and if the market wants to move them there, we will. So we are here for a good time, not a long time. We don't ask for too much. Yeah, there we go, exactly. Hey. That's exactly what it is, man. So that's the game plan. Go add your boy at Trader TV. I usually keep you guys posted on that, but I'm more or less posting trades and open interest on the options chain, which I think are extremely important as well, because that's going to give you a gauge. And I think we're going to set it. Neil and I were actually talking. I think during the new setup, we're going to start some big stuff with just the options chain, because I think it's really important for market gauges. No question about it. Especially when you guys do your morning analysis as well too. So when you're like, hey, where the contracts open, I think it's really important after the market opens that we can use the chain to gauge ranges. And
you've been proving it over and over every day. We keep looking at those levels on the options chain, and it keeps rejecting on that level. So,
right? So we're really going to start focusing and honing on that for the options traders, and even for those who are looking to get involved in options. I think this is a great place to start. Any questions regarding that, Sharif and I are most definitely going to be answering them. Adara, what do you got for us?
One of the announcements at this Robinhood event has to do with stock tokens. Well, Vlad Tenev and crew just actually said it out loud. So in the EU, these EU Robinhood customers will now be able to trade U.S. stocks via stock tokens. So tokenized stocks here. He mentioned names like Amazon, NVIDIA. He said that right now they don't have a full rollout, but they're planning on having thousands more. So now if you are in the EU trading on Robinhood, you might be able to trade some of these U.S. stocks via tokenized stocks. A good look here for HOOD, getting a push to the upside. Back to you.
Just one more. Do you want to cover something?
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead. Yeah, go ahead.
Cap gapper. Yeah. I'm pretty sure it is. Yeah, it is. Shout out to Venue 42. Thank you very much. Money for the $5 super chat. Joseph's doing the honorary spin, but just in case you are wondering, here let's have a look at ARTL. So I did look at this one. Full disclosure, the reason it's not on the side charts and the reason I haven't said anything about it, guys, it is because it's trading below the volume weighted average price. Okay, and is this an official high? Yes, it is. So that's a 1250. Sorry, I can read. I promise. 2558 HOD. Since we put in that high a day, we've been putting in lower lows and lower highs. We've got an official low, $15. This thing closed out though on Friday at around what was the price there? 6 3/4, just below 7. Had a fantastic morning, 7:45. That news item hits, the algos react, it pops up, reaches above $20, holds the 20. EMA, which is the yellow line on my chart. Don't know why it's holding the 20, but don't really care. I just look to see what it's respecting, not why. all right? And so it held it beautifully here from 8:35 till 9:15, then rocketed up there as the imbalances got closer to the high. And then in the actual trading day, the official trading day after 9:30, we printed 25.58, but since that time, we've been putting in lower lows and lower highs. So the only way I get involved with this one is if it gets above $19 or wherever the volume weighted average price is currently trading. I don't like this one because, well, it's breaking down. Let's just call a spade a spade. So I'm going to keep my eye out on it. It's on the side chart. I'm not side chart, but on the watch list, side watch list here. So if it starts making moves, I'll get involved. Otherwise, I'm just going to steer clear because it is kind of, it's not the right trend. I don't short these small cap gappers. So that's the situation. NEGG continues to show me 99s here as a flat top. So I don't know what the hell to make of this. I don't like trading these low float names, but this just seems so destined to take out the top for a flat top break, whether or not it does it, or whether it does without stopping me out, kind of hard to tell. Right back before we go to Adira, I'm still keeping my eye here on NFE. We got 29s on. I'm looking for also another aggressive move, possibly into the $0.50 here on NFE. What's up, Adira?
Really interesting announcement here on these tokenized stocks from Robinhood. They're still talking about the benefits, but one thing is if you're in the EU trading these tokenized stocks, you'll still get benefit from dividends that would happen in the US stocks, and you'll also benefit from any potential stock splits, or at least it'll be affected. EU customers will also still be able to trade ETFs. They mentioned VOO, of course, that's the Vanguard ETF, as well as the SPY. So nice benefits here if you are in the Robinhood trading here for the EU. If you're doing these tokenized stocks, you're getting a lot of the same benefits of the US counterparts. Back to you.
Thank you.
Yeah, beautiful stuff there, guys. I want to talk about this name, and we can go on and on about this like for a while.
Joey.
Just like what, honestly, Sharif, man, I'm gonna like this. We'll hum ourselves at the same time, but hey, I appreciate it. Yeah, pat yourself on the back. But sometimes you need to, man. This Robinhood trade has been nothing short of absolutely amazing. Like again, just grabbing it at the lows, just following. See, that's where I kind of put the technicals away. I put the technicals away and just focused on the reports. And I was just like, okay, yeah, because we've seen the growth, that the kind of the exponential growth that we're seeing in Robinhood, and now that they acquired WonderFi, they're expanding in the European Union as well too. So there's a lot of big stuff going on with Robinhood, and I think we're going to see this. Now they were moving on the Genius Act as well too.
Yes, sir.
Right? So there we go. We got a lot of catalysts that just built up in this name, and now you see that we are up over 100 and something % off of these lows on Robinhood and continuing to climb. And it looks like with today's session, almost 200%. By the end of today's session, I would not be surprised if we hit that $90 target. This name has been on an absolute monster run, but at the same time, you don't want to be greedy, and it would be smart for you to manage the position. Maybe not necessarily if it's in the long term, but if you've gone on such a big time move, trim a little bit. If you have 100 shares, for example, take 40, 50, and even 60% of that off, and then wait for a lower price, because eventually you will get it. It may not be the exact price that you want, but there's multiple ways that you can profit from this while you sell some shares and then sit on some cash and do some cash secured puts or something along those lines, because I think that's going to be phenomenal. And it's just multiple ways. Okay, yeah, you're missing out on the appreciation of the actual stock, but there's so many different ways where you can still make some passive income, and that's going to be selling some puts. So essentially you are long, right? And one thing that you can do as well, so what are you doing when you're selling puts? Is essentially you're waiting for the stock to come to your price. If it doesn't come to your price, well then guess what? Congratulations, you got to make money anyways by collecting the premium and allowing those contracts to expire worthless. Now, exactly what we were talking about, yes, exactly. Thank you very much for that. I put a poll up right now, and when we were talking about options, and we're going to get more involved into this and getting the options chain to you guys on the bigger screens and everything, I want to see what you have going on. Are you a stock trader? Are you an options trader? Are you hybrid? Or are you looking to learn a little bit more? All right, so that's going to tell us a lot of what our current group sentiment is, and I think it's really, really important.
All right, Assassino, we ready?
Yeah.
2 seconds. One. All right, few seconds, my mistake. Okay, I'm gonna keep my eye here. Okay, Looking to trade futures like the Nasdaq, the SPY, or even Bitcoin? Well, Top One Futures is one of the fastest growing prop firms out there, guys. They give traders the chance to manage up to $1 million in capital, and you get to pick your path. You get instant funding, challenge, or PRO account, and then start trading your way to real payouts and even a live account. In the last 90 days alone, they've paid out over $10 million and earned 1,000 plus 5-star reviews from real traders. So use the discount code, simple, TTV, to save on any account. Scan that QR code now or head over to top1futures.com and start trading towards your next payout, baby. Shout out to Top One Futures. Good look there, Joseph. That's a lot of money to pay out there.
Yeah,
man.
that's a lot of
a good account.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm just seeing we got about 300. Before I send it back to you there, Sharif, we got about 300 votes. 40% are just stock traders, 22% right now are options traders, and then we have about 30% that are hybrid. I'm loving the hybrid. I've voted hybrid, and I think that it's really important. I know we like our equities, we like just trading common stock, but it's important if you are trading these things, these names, how much the options market influences the actual underlying asset. So I think as a collective unit, we need to hone in on this more. We need to focus on what the options chain is telling us, and it's going to drastically improve your day trading.
And I really need to echo that sentiment because, proof is in the pudding, right?
It's there.
And every morning, or not every morning, but every day on the show, you're pulling up the futures, the options chain. Sorry, not futures, the options chain. And we're comparing it to levels on the daily, and almost all the time it's repetitive.
It's too accurate to not follow it.
I agree.
You know what I mean?
I agree 100%, man. All right, guys, let's get into the nitty gritty. This neg trade, I'm worried about it. So I was speaking to somebody in the chat. I think his name was Martin, and he's like, "What the hell is Sharif in NEGG for?" And he's absolutely right to ask that because it breaches one of my rules, which is we need good volume, and this one just doesn't have it. It's still 500,000 shares. It's a wide spread. I just felt that $15 was a flat top break waiting to happen. It seems as the seller at 15 is a bit stronger than I had anticipated. So we'll see whether this one ends up taking out the level or not. We're still positive on it. I've only gotten one measly print, and I haven't added to be full disclosure. So let's see if this one holds up or what the situation is. The other one that I'm involved in right now, NFE, we just got a few prints above that 40 penny area, and here we go, coming back down again. So I am a little concerned about this one because you're not seeing that parabolic nature on NFE or what's it called, GNS for that matter. So we'll keep tabs on those. I've taken a substantial portion here of the NFE trade, still holding a piece for in case, it really gets parabolic above that $0.50. I don't want to be without shares. And then GNS, we don't have too many left on this bad boy. Full disclosure, here we go. We're going to take out some here because it's been a minute since it's been up here. We're going to still hold some for 54 and 56, but it's really the GNLN show. Look at this trade, bro. How bad does this trade look, man? This is consistent though. You know what I mean? A better trader would not let this off the hook.
Yeah.
A better trader would see that this is continuing to go. The volume is still there. The higher lows and the higher highs are coming in.
But let me play devil's advocate.
Yeah.
Exactly.
All right.
And I said that to you this morning. Sometimes it's just really, we don't know. Hindsight obviously being 2020.
Sure.
You put on the trade. That trade is good. Could you have left a little bit of a runner on? Yes, but you were willing to accept the profit that you had. And I think it's just really important to continue to do those types of things. It's like, I take everything off of that trade.
Yep.
I'm happy and I'm willing to accept my trade.
I agree with everything you say, but let me make one quick revision. I don't think that, in my opinion, these are the type of stocks you leave a piece for the dream, like on a Facebook or a Meta.
Yeah.
What my opinion is with these ones is that you just keep getting in and you keep getting out.
Yep.
You keep getting in and getting out, but you don't hold a piece for the dream because all hell can break loose to the downside in a hot second. So I completely.
So there you go. I think you just answered yourself. You took it off. You were willing to accept it. You don't know what can happen next. Obviously, even if we did, we would be really rich. I'm really rich. But you know what I mean? But that's how it is.
Don't invite me.
That's how it was with my Google. It's like, okay, yeah, fantastic. I'm in at 168. My average is 168. We trade up to 182 in the pre-market. My goal was to get out at 177.5. But after that imbalance on Friday, I'm like, you have to stick in this. Okay, we get that $2 prop in the pre-market. I'm going to accept what I've done and take 66% of my position off and leave the rest of a runner. I'm accepting that fact and locking in profits, taking what the market is giving me. And then now look at Google. It's literally 7 points lower than what I sold it at this morning. So I'm already at a place where I'm getting in at a better price than what I've just sold it at. And I think that's really important, whether you're swing trading or day trading, is just starting to accept the fact of the moves that you've made. Obviously, everything can be a little bit better. That's the nature of trading, is more. You always want more, but sometimes you just have to be happy with what you have.
Well said, Joseph. Well said. All right, guys, while GNLN was going nuts, I got back in, scalped for like 20 quick pennies. You know, it's nothing, it's not like anything like the first trade. So this one's got a 647 high, Adara, having trouble with that $0.50. What's up?
Speaking of highs here, Robinhood is actually at new day's highs. Nice push here above that 89 level into $90.50. Tons of, I guess, announcements made here, guys, today. Of course, they didn't announce tokenized stocks now for trading U.S. equities. If you are in the EU, really good announcements there. They're making literally new day's highs as you speak. And we also found the reason for the name of the event, To Catch a Token. It has to do with the fact that To Catch a Thief was apparently filmed where the event's taking place. Back to you.
You, Adara. Keeping my eye here on GNLN. It just took out the top, guys. So there we go.
Oh
660
my
high.
God.
Go.
Sorry, Sharif. Yeah.
Go.
Robinhood is now. I told you guys at some point today this thing is going to go to 90. And then now look at it just go absolutely parabolic here. And that's the thing. It's like, dude, I'm like, well, I wish I had more of that. But let's hop back into reality and be like, hey, you have what you have and be thankful for that. But what an absolute monster rotation from your boy. Big smile. I know you were making fun of me about Tesla. And I know a lot of people in the chat were making fun of me when I dumped Tesla at the lows and I said, AC Slater to you, I'm going to buy some Robinhood. Why? Because you got 700% increase in crypto transactions year over year, 100% increase in options activity year over year, the gold membership, even what's the word I'm looking for? Leveraged accounts are also increasing. So the platform is expanding on an extreme level, and that's where you see that exponential growth. Now we're starting to trade into 91.50 Robinhood, the gift that keeps on giving. Let's go, Adara. What do you got for us?
Actually, we have another pretty big announcement here from this Robinhood event. So earlier, we did have Vlad Tenev, CEO, tell people who were watching the event to download their Robinhood app in the EU. Well, it turns out the reason why is because they're actually allowing people who are at the event to get tokenized stocks of two private companies, OpenAI and SpaceX. So really interesting announcements here and incentives at this HOOD event. Back to you.
Some great stuff going on there, Sharif. So I'm short the Qs here right now at the top end of this range. Let's see what happens. I think we will head back to the lower end, and that's why I didn't want to sell the lows, right? When you have a consolidation, you don't want to be selling into the support level. You want to wait, post up, and then maybe you can get that move back towards the lower end of the range. If any form of volume picks up and it looks like that we're going to break out to the top side, then we can just hop out of this trade, take a significantly smaller loss. Because if you have an entry right here, now your stop has to be at the top end of the range and even a little bit north of that in order for you to really know that you're wrong in that setup, right? Because if you enter at the support level and you have your stop in the middle of the range, well, look where the stock is consolidating. It's almost inevitable that the fact that you're going to get stopped out. So that's why risk to reward is extremely key. Consolidations, you want to sell the highs, buy the lows, et cetera, and have your stops just above some previous peaks. So that's what we got going on here with the TQs.
You gotta go watch the video that Ram just posted on the stories.
Who's it of? Who's it of?
It's of us. And what's his name back there? The guy doing the construction.
I don't know.
You don't know his name?
No.
Man, Adara. What's that dude's name? That's I don't want to yell because he's back.
I didn't get the video.
The guy doing the construction. Do you know his name?
I've never heard it. I would remember it if I knew it, but I've never heard it.
Thank you, Adara.
Gratefully.
Ram, you know his name? Assassino. Nobody knows. Fabian, do you know his name? The guy doing the construction. You know his name? Okay, nobody knows.
There's a way we can do it. But hey, man, we want to introduce yourself.
Every morning I say good morning.
Yeah, and he's always
I
like,
don't even know his name. All right. The Katina man knows, but he's swimming right
go
now.
ask for us.
Guys, we got 2 halts to
Send
talk
me the
about
video,
right now.
Ramin, please, and thank you.
What happened?
I don't have Instagram.
Whose fault is that, though? Literally.
It's mine.
There you go.
But
And
that
you know
doesn't mean
Instagram, the beautiful thing is you can actually just watch it without an account. Go online.
Oh yeah,
Go
okay.
on
So
the,
then,
yeah, like
okay,
the way
but-
you use X. you
Yeah,
can
yeah.
use-
So
you
just
can-
post it up in the GC, in the group chat then. Do your boy a favor.
All right, guys, let's talk about these 2 halts right now. Because a couple of one good, one bad.
His name is Jeff. My name is Jeff.
Oh, my name is Jeff. All right, BMNR on the Amex network is halted to the downside. It's just lost a 10 exponential, I think, for the first time of the day on the closing basis. Halted at 23.66, a halt time. 11:37:32. So you add 5 minutes on top of that. That is the first open time for that stock. The opposite look. GNLN halted to the upside, $6.85. The theoretical auction price show, well, we're not gonna, yeah, actually, this is a Nasdaq stock, so we should be able to get the tap. 685. It halted at 11:37:55. So add 5 minutes onto that. That'll be the earliest time it can open. So 2 halts, 1 up, 1 down on the 2 biggest movers currently, GNLN and BMNR. Great look for both of them. Let's look at the trades that we've got on, though. NEGG continues to displease me, nor is it stopping me out. So I want to see how this cookie crumbles. Now, full disclosure, we're not making that $15 touch, and we haven't now for almost 20 minutes. This is now putting in lower highs, and it looks like it could be a rounded top here on NEGG. So that seller at 15-ish, because technically the high of the day is 15.01, right now looks like they're going to win. So, and I'm out of the money by 9 pennies. 77s I've got, it's showing me 68s. Let's see how this cookie crumbles. It doesn't look good for me at the moment. That's the one that's not doing well. The other ones are doing quite well. NFE continues to hang out with higher lows. This one, I'm never confident with these small cap gappers because they can turn on you in a minute. But this one is putting in the higher low, so it's got the right pattern here. Likewise with GNS, but this one's an MX stock, so I'm more suspicious of this one, putting in higher lows with what could be a flat top break through 50. I've loaded up on this one enough that I've taken out the majority of the shares, so now we're going to leave a couple of pieces here for said dream. So those are the 3 that I'm involved in right now. Uh-oh. Big spile, Burdette. Sorry, Adair, I just got to address the super chat. Okay, that's okay. We can read it. What is your name? What? What is your name? Ezekiel. You see that fire over there? I'm assuming that's from a meme or something, a video.
I didn't know.
Big spile, I'm going to have to copy that and
saying.
find out exactly what you're talking about there. And then somebody's calling me from Egypt.
Oh,
and I'm going to say no.
Answer it.
No,
Let's have a
can't do
conversation.
that. It'd be great.
Yeah.
It'd be great. Maybe we'll do that next time.
Maybe we'll do that next time?
Go ahead, Adair. Sorry to keep you waiting.
The event is done. Vlad Tedov & Co. just ended. They did announce a couple highlights at the end, including the fact that I guess their Robinhood stablecoin, USDG, has now been approved in the EU as well. So tons of announcements here. In case you guys missed it, the highlights include some staking announcements. They've launched Ethereum and Solana staking. They also announced a whole bunch of tokenized stocks that you can trade in the EU. It's going to be US stocks right now, about 200, but they're planning on having over 1,000 by the end of 2025. So tons of Robinhood announcements. HOOD on watch, pushing a little bit lower as the event ends. Back to you.
Thank you. We're just joking. Things that we can't say on camera, but that's fine.
Yeah.
Everything's good, Joseph. Everything's good.
Yeah, funny stuff. All right, let's see. We got to get some questions in the chat here. Gregory Osborne, Joe, I love when you talk about your swing trade ideas. I appreciate that very much. If you had $1,000 to drop on a swing right now, what would your play be? Ideally to hold for a month or 2. That's a very good question. And I think I've been talking about this catch-up trade in the likes of Amazon, Google, and I'm not quite Apple just yet, but I think Google might be one of of the better catch-up trades. But I'd just be sitting on that cash right now, unless you're positioned relatively well. I wouldn't be looking to hold on to that, or sorry, to be grabbing anything all the way up here. I mentioned that the Nasdaq is up substantially off of Liberation Day lows, and same with the likes of some of the other big names. And I'm specifically talking about NVDA being up close to 80% at the highs off of the Liberation Day lows. I wouldn't be chasing. The price action does seem a little bit fishy, and I think at some point we are going to get a drastic pullback. And with that being said, just be patient. But there is some solid catch-up trades that I think that are to be had. But with the likes of NVDA deciding that it wants to head back towards the opening price of the day, it's not a good look for this TQ short. But okay, so let's break this down. I would wait for a solid price. Maybe 156 was half decent on NVDA, but I don't believe we're going to be able to breach and hold 160. One thing that's really drove me and made me hold on to some of my NVDA shares and buy some in the long term is solely on the Gulf deals. I think these are massive deals, and I think they're going to continue to expand, especially with Donald Trump and his administration starting to ease some of the restrictions. Regardless of what's going on with the H20 chip in China, he's opening the door to much more companies. And if they're falling behind in this AI race, then at some point, I think NVDA is the way to go, and they're going to want to play catch up. And NVDA is going to be probably one of the primary beneficiaries of that. Sure.
Well said, Joseph.
Yeah.
GNLN is losing the bid here really aggressively to the downside. What I'm looking at, if you're watching new, I've got the 5-second chart on my top screen. I use that to be able to discern trend and when the trend is really giving it up on a very, very localized basis. Because you know how these ones are, man. They don't really hang out too much at any one level. And now we are halted to the downside on GNLN, 597 halt right now. The theoretical auction price showing me 460. So we are slated to open much lower than we closed. Again, guys, we come in waves of 5 minutes for these volatility halts. It doesn't mean they're only going to be closed or halted, excuse me, for 5 minutes, but they come in increments of 5. So minimum halt time will be 5 minutes. So you add 5 minutes onto 11:45:57. So the earliest we can open is 11:50:57. So we'll keep an eye out on that one. BMNR is losing the bid really aggressively here. Oh, baby, this one is really on the move down. This is going to halt again here, 20:45. It is now lunchtime, Joseph. But this is not a good time for your friend BMNR or anybody holding this one long ahead of $20, because this is really coming down aggressively. And now we are halted on both the names. BMNR halted to the downside at 2045, and GNLN halted to the downside at 597. GNLN is a lot closer to the volume weighted average price than BMNR is. So VWAP on my chart here on GNLN is, I want to say, 5 low 80s, 5 high 70s, whereas on BMNR, it's at $17, and we're halted at basically 20.5, $20.45. So be on the lookout for these when they open up. Personally, I would like to trade GNLN a lot more than BMNR just because of the price and the way that BMNR is moving. Also, I don't like BMNR as much as I like GNLN for the exchange off which it trades. The Amex, you know, some bamboozlement on that one, whereas the Nasdaq, well, I'm not saying there's no bamboozlement on the Nasdaq. I don't want anybody to get me wrong, but yeah, less bamboozlement maybe. So, and that's kind of a contradiction on my part, and I'll readily admit that because I'm in GNS. And GNS is also on the MX, but we got a couple of beak wetters left. This thing breaches my level. We're gonzino there. So let's look at the ones that are actually continuing with the uptrend, and that is NFE, still putting in higher lows, not necessarily, though, those higher highs. And I have too many orders here spaced apart. So let's go ahead and set up north of 50. We're going to set up at 52s, whatever, right? Still ahead of that $50 area. So that's my look on NFE. And then the last but not least, NEGG, right back into 1490. I don't know what the hell to do with this one. I don't know if I should just flatten out for a 13-penny winner and get the hell out of there, or insist that this one break the $15 area. I'm just going to hold it. I'm going to hold it. If I end up going red on this one because of that, well, then lesson learned. But I'm just kind of stubborn, and I like the pattern. I don't like the volume, obviously. I want to make that clear. I don't like the spread, but the pattern is sound, and it seems to have a buyer at around 14.5. Whether or not that ends up being the case and continues to be the case or not, we'll have to wait and see. So that's my look there. All right. 7-Eleven. 7-Eleven. Oh my God, Adara, did you see that? She likes that. Okay.
I love that. I'm a fan.
$4.99 super chat.
Okay.
Hi, brother.
Hi.
Any thoughts on GNS? Everyone smash a like button. First of all, you won me over right there. Smash a like button. Shout out to 7-Eleven. Look, and I just finished talking about GNS. Let's go through a little bit more on it here. Let's bring in the side chart and talk a little TA. So you can see here, brother, that it clearly has support at VWAP. It did it over here. It did it over there. Now, during that time, we were putting in higher lows and also higher highs. We've got the higher lows still intact. Like, you can't say that we've lost that $1.32 or that $1.35, right? We haven't. We're still holding the 10 EMA. The issue is we're just not getting that kind of strength to move this one back above that $0.50. And I'll submit to you that that's what we need, Ram. Yeah, that's what we need, because we need that higher high, higher low pattern to continue. And that's not continuing, full disclosure. In fact, if you look at it even more closely, you can kind of see that we have a lower high pattern. And we have since this topping tail at 11.05. It is 11.50. So we have been putting in lower highs, not necessarily lower lows, for almost an hour now. So that does concern me. Now, where am I long? I'm long at 38s. So I've given that basically to my stop. And I like the fact that my long is at 38s, because that's where exactly the volume weighted average price is. And that's my rule. Don't trade these ones long south of the volume weighted average price. So that's what I'm looking at right now. GNS, that's how I feel about this one. Joseph, you're yelling about something. The people want to know what's going on.
I did. I accidentally added into this position when I meant to post up. I mean, it's working now, but I wanted to take some profits here on SOFI as it's starting to rip to the top side here. So we'll take the extra shares that I was looking to take off there, Sharif, and we'll just take them off.
Adding into
I honestly
positions
didn't
like an
know,
animal.
but
I
legitimately didn't mean to do that. That's why I'm like, no, I wanted to sell some.
It's a good
not, yeah. I mean, it's one of the stronger names, right? So you just want to stick with the strength here. And then also for my TQs, I'm starting small on the short side, right, guys? So what I'll do is I give that 50 cents. It starts to work out. I'll double up the position, and then therefore my stop now goes to a quarter. But right now we're cooling. I can't Toronto saying, but now we're just posted up. We're hanging out. NVDA is on the rise, as my guy Gaurav pointed out, and I said, yes, you don't want to be going against the market when the big boys are trading higher. But I believe there's going to be a key support level in the pre-market that we might knock on the door. And then we also have that 160 open interest, over 100,000 current open contracts on NVDA. And I think we're going to struggle to break through that. So be patient, wait for NVDA to turn around. But if it starts to squeeze and you get that gamma effect where you really start to accelerate and then you blow through those levels, watch out. You don't want to be on the wrong side of that trade. But I'm going to be waiting for NVDA to slowly turn around. The higher it climbs, if it gets to OP, opening price that is, then maybe we'll just have to hop out of the TQs. But I'm going to be patient on this one, wait for it to slowly turn back. Hopefully we get that short side working out, add into the position. Now going from 50% to 50 cents to a 25-cent stop. But that accidental add here on SOFI working out really, really well for us so far, Sharif. With the, sorry, what were you going to say?
No, go ahead.
Oh, yeah, I was going to say, so with the fat finger trade number, exactly, yeah. Some days it's like that there, Dubs dollars, just like sometimes it's hard to lose it, but then there's other days where it's just like, yeah, okay, well, I can't put on a trade if my life depended on it. But then when things are working out for you, they just tend to do so. So you want to go with that flow and ride that wave there, guys. So yeah, and I know you got a lot of people in the chat were talking about Bitcoin as it went on a big time move. Someone mentioned that it moved $1,000 in a span of a couple of minutes. Fantastic stuff. But I think 108 is giving it a world of trouble. So I'm going to keep an eye out on that. And I'm more than happy. I'm going to touch on some IBIT here momentarily. But first things first, we're going to take a little bit off here on this. Yeah, I hear you there, Fabe. We're going to take a little bit off there on SOFI as we're continuing to climb higher. Now it's like, I wish I added some more. I wish I added some more, but that's not necessarily the case. We're going to be happy with what we got going on. This trade's starting to cook up, sticking to strong names, strong catalysts. This is what we want to see here in the market. Trade.
Absolutely love it, man. Shout out to Sports and Stonks letting me know about VOR. Brother, I had that one on the side watch list from Friday, because that was a Friday? Yeah, that was a former runner on Friday. So we'll keep an eye on that, and it's already strong, my man. Already 50.5% in the afternoon over here. But I'm keeping my eye here on BMNR. So it opened up, and it really didn't tank down to VWAP, nor did I have an order there. It's still putting in lower highs. So even though it has a kind of a bottoming tail candle that's currently green, the previous candle highs around 23.30. This current candle has a high of 22 and a lower low of 19. So we're still putting that downtrend currently right now on BMNR, lower lows and lower highs. Let's see if that ends up changing and whether we make another attempt above 23 bucks. I will not be trading this until the trend, if I trade it, is decidedly higher highs and higher lows. I'm not going to try to catch a falling knife. So that one is open and has been for some time, but GNLN will be at least a 10-minute halt. So if that is the case, then it will be 10:55:57, the earliest it'll open. It currently is 11:54 and change. I don't know exactly how many seconds. I'm not looking at my atomic clock. So GNLN halted down, but most notably still above the volume weighted average price, currently showing me a theoretical auction price of 532. That could change. That's substantially lower, almost 30 pennies lower, more than 30 pennies, excuse me, than the current halt price of 97. So that's the situation. Let's go back and look at our other trades right now. NFE, okay, stair stepping up. It's a slow mover, but it's still putting me, still showing me those higher lows. So I'm still ambitious for that $0.50 break. We'll wet our beak before the $0.50 if it does make its way up there. And then GNS, you know, making me look bad. I'm like, oh, this one's going to lose the bid. It's still having trouble with the $0.50. There's no question about that, but it's still putting in higher lows. Not necessarily those parabolic higher highs, but it's putting in higher lows nonetheless. Last but not least over here, this one that I really don't feel good about, NEGG. We'll see what this one ends up doing. We're still in the money on it, but haven't taken any more than that initial print. GNLN is open now. Where is it at? Show yourself. There it is. We are opening down. We are below now the volume weighted average price. VWAP, 5 low 80s. I won't be touching this until it can get back above 6, and it may do that just right now. Comes into 6 and rejects it. So there's certainly somebody short selling in the high 5s there, 5 mid 90s or so. Back down into 5 low 60s. Now we're losing 50s. We're in the 40s. So yeah, all hell is breaking to the downside right now on GNLN. If you're wondering why I'm not punching in at these levels, I don't trade it below the volume weighted average price. I'm talking about the small cap gappers. They have to be above VWAP for me to get involved. So this one is trying to work back above 6, just got into 6, topping, tailed through 6. I think that candle high is 605. So for the moment, we're back into the 70s, 80s. So a lot of people probably got stopped out who were waiting for maybe a breakout trade through 6. I don't think that would be the right way to trade it, but you move into that 6. Best you could do is 605, and then down you go again. Let's see if we can take out that 605 seller. We're 02s. Again, 01, back into 19s we go, and we take out the 05 seller. So this one might have a second win here. We're still about, 80 pennies or so off the high, 710 in the day, but we're right back above the volume weighted average price. And now, Joseph, we may halt here to the upside again, showing me that halt parameter. We could get a gray out here momentarily. 628, Joseph, if we halt, will be the halt price. Need a couple more seconds at this level, and there it is, graying out there. And now we are halted to the upside at 628. Anybody interested in like fighter planes or, that kind of like, anybody in the chat ever want to be a fighter pilot? I did. And do you guys know what graying out is? Do you know what graying out is?
No, is that when you the G-force is too much?
Yeah, actually, yes, exactly. So it's like you lose your vision incrementally when the G-force, it doesn't all happen at once. So you start losing your peripheral vision. You can't see from the side anymore and from the top, and then your vision loses color, and you go gray. And then you knock out.
And then you pass
and then
out, right?
like that.
4 or something.
Well, you're supposed to be able to pull 9.
9?
They train you 4-9.
4-9?
Yeah. But,
that's
a lot of
cool.
people, they put you in the centrifuge and stuff like that. Yeah, man.
yeah,
There's like a whole suit, a G suit that inflates to keep your blood from rushing to your legs so that it'll inflate everywhere, lock it in place, because what ends up happening is the G-forces push the blood from your brain all the way to your legs. So it's kind of
interesting.
Cool.
Yeah, very, very interesting. I mean, guys, what a strong name here. So you can see it came to our break even on SOFI, and then now we put in a new high. So a nice liquidity grab right there. And I punched out. I had no issues with that. I didn't have too much of my position left after these two initial moves right there, considering I added accidentally. And then we take some off, and then it just comes back to our break even. And that's the thing here with the Qs that I noted. We have a big time indecision on the likes of on NVDA. You can see that volume really looks like it started to peak here. So be patient and wait for a slow turnaround if that's going to come into play. But then we also got the pre-market lows as well. You can see it knocking on that door, but let's see if that opens or not. I don't think it's going, well, I could be totally wrong, and if I am, then the market's going to start squeezing. But this is what I was referring to on some of these pre-market levels here on the TQs, and then now you can see that we're bouncing off it as well too, guys. So there it is, being patient, holding on to these positions. But if some of the bigger names decide that they want to bounce here, because we got Apple at the lows, and then we got Google heading toward the lower day as well too. If they decide to revert back towards the volume-weighted average price, you don't want to be short that market because it's not participating to the downside. And then once those buy programs start to step back in, you get those cover rallies, you're going to see the appreciation in the Qs. So, yeah, I think we are there. And right after we get back from that, there's a couple super chats we're going to cover.
Looking to trade futures like the Nasdaq, the SPY, or even Bitcoin, well, Top One Futures is one of the fastest growing prop firms out there, guys. They give traders the chance to manage up to $1 million in capital, and you get to pick your path. Instant funded, challenge, or pro account, and start trading your way to real payouts and even a live account. And in the past 90 days alone, they paid out over $10 million and earned over 1,000 plus 5-star reviews from real traders. So if you're interested, use the discount code TTV to save on any account. Scan that QR code or head on over to their website, top1futures.com, and start trading towards your next payout. Adair, I'm going to send you the super chat over here. Why is Sunrun up 15% and Enphase down 1%? I don't mean to put you on the spot, but you found a headline there earlier.
I did found a headline, and I actually read a little bit into this morning. So for one thing I want to say is the reason some of these solar names are not moving in tandem with one another, people are speculating it has to do because some of these companies have a little bit more political pull than others. Now, why would that matter, you may ask? Because the biggest catalyst in the solar space as of late has had to do with the one big beautiful bill, or the great big beautiful bill, or the big beautiful bill. Depending on what you call it, either way, it does involve solar. And so here's a story I saw earlier today. Politico apparently reporting that Senator Lisa Murkowski was saying that she will offer an amendment to Senate Republicans' mega bill to tie eligibility for the wind and solar tax credits to the start of a project's construction. That would be a significant change from the current draft. Now, it's unclear how that's going to impact those names, but I will say in general, the reason these names are active likely has to do with the big beautiful bill. The reason they're moving differently might have to do with different companies' level of pull or lack thereof. So with that in mind, let's take a look here at some of these hot movers today. We have Robinhood, HOOD, still near today's highs. Lots of announcements at the To Catch a Token event, including the fact that they're going to be launching stock tokens in the EU, not only for public companies, but even for private companies like OpenAI and SpaceX. Then we have GOOGL, Google and Amazon, two names that were poised to trade a little bit higher that drifted lower today. GOOGL actually had a couple positive catalysts, one involving OpenAI. Google is reportedly providing OpenAI with some TPUs, but then the other has to do with fusion. Google reportedly betting on a fusion future in a power deal with the Commonwealth. They'll also be investing in Commonwealth again. It's reported by Bloomberg, but the story was circulating quite heavily. So GOOGL not really able to maintain that positive momentum from some of these catalysts. Back to you.
Yeah. Thank you very much, Adara. Thank you for that. All right, Joseph, I got to cover this. GNLN is absolutely insane, Joseph. We're going to halt at $6.99 over here if this one keeps going with the halt parameter. Wow, baby, from the depths of hell. Below view up, that's, to me, the depths of hell.
There it is.
So we are going to halt here. 1 second. There's the gray out. So we are halted, Joseph, 6.99.
Oh, big time halt right there, guys. So yeah, let's see what was I just about to mention here. SoFi heading towards that high of the day. Tesla moving eastbound here. You can see a nice consolidation phase that we got going on. And it looks like it wants to head towards the top end of the support, the resistance range. But one thing that we need, if you're a breakout trader, you want to see that really start to step in as you crack through some of these key levels. And I'm giving 50 cents on the TQ short here. If it breaks through that and the mags start to climb higher, then we'll just hop out of that. No sweat attached. But let's go over some of these super chats here, guys. We have, what do you think of Robinhood from Sev? Sev, what do we think of Robinhood? We need more likes. Everyone smash that like. Yeah, again, much appreciated. Thank you for pointing that out. Just hit that like and subscribe.
This trade
Not
has
much here,
unlimited
guys.
upside.
Just a little click of the button. And if you want to join the chat, you obviously have to subscribe as well, too. But there goes SOFI starting to climb higher. We've been talking about Robinhood for some time here now and just how they've been benefiting from a lot. They're expanding. They acquired WonderFi, which is a big-time acquisition, I think, here. So they can now break ground here in Toronto. In Canada, that is. So there it is, Robinhood now up to a high of around 91.87. So you're going to tap into those 92s, I think, here relatively soon. So we'll keep an eye out on that. Let's zoom out from a daily standpoint, and I mean, we were talking about the run that we've been on off of the Liberation Day lows, 209% now. So that's a big time move, and that's why I refer to if you don't know too much about options and you want to expand your game, then I think here's a good place to do so. But you also want to do your own due diligence as well too, guys, because like there's so many ways that you can profit from a stock that has been substantially moving in your favor and you don't own any of it, and you can just like collect a little bit of premium and wait for that price to come to you. And if you do get assigned, then congratulations, you're the proud owner of the stock that you want at a specific price that you want, which I think is really important to understand there. But yeah, the Qs are really moving against us here. That's why when I start a short position, I was talking with, Sharif already covered that one there. So yeah. That's all for the super chats. And once again, thank you guys very much. And for me personally, when I'm shorting something, and especially in this strong market, that's why I'll start small, right? I don't like, look where I am now. I'm 50 cents, almost 50 cents out of the money on this trade. And then that's fine. If it comes to the 85, then I'll just hop out and take a small loss, a fraction of a risk loss. Because what do? I start small on the shorts, just in case you get the big move against you. And then once the thesis really starts to work out, then that's when you can add. But that also is going to trail your stop as well, too. So now that I have a 50-cent stop, if I were to double my position, it now goes to a quarter. If I'd done that prematurely, then I would have been stopped out a long time ago. And maybe it would have worked in my favor. But I want to hold on to this position just in case the market decides that it wants to turn around. And some of these bigger names are going to head to the south side. But this is what I was referring to, a nice indecision print on NVDA here as well, guys. So you're playing the break of that candle. NVDA, I like that. I'm already short the Q, so I don't want to go short again, just in case we do get a squeeze or some of the big names start to recover a little bit more. Then you don't want to be on the wrong side of that. But nice potential micro pullback here. And I think the primary target, if you're lucky enough to get that, is going to be the volume weighted average price. And I mentioned before, I think NVDA this week is going to have a hard time breaking that 160. And we do know that there's some insider selling as well, too.
All right, shout out to WikiLeaks. Wanted me to look at KLTO. So this one we were involved in earlier, my friend. We got in here at $1.15, scalped up to 120. It came back down, started showing me that lower high. Trend was still intact. I got the hell out of there. So a couple of reasons why I got into that $1.15. It happened to be VWAP. In addition to that, look at that area high right at 720. So this was a previous area of resistance. So I was looking for it to be an area of support. And it did actually hold up there momentarily, but the selling was just too aggressive. And this one ended up dropping another 10 or 15 cents. So I got the hell out of there. But look, it's working its way right back above VWAP. Okay, and now it's broken that lower high trend, the one that I got caught in. You don't need to be a chartered market technician to see that it's breached this trend line over here. So this might be yet another opportunity here on KLTO. I'm not involved in it currently right now, but that doesn't mean that I can't be. So I'm going to be keeping my eye on this one, and it didn't lose its place on the side chart full disclosure. We kept it on because it was still awfully close to that volume weighted average price. I was like, maybe it just works back above, and we'll see what this one does. So thank you for calling it out, WikiLeaks. It's a good looker right now. We'll keep an eye out on that. GNLN is open and it's rampaging to the high side again. Dips, pops into 7.5. It's down to 7. It's holding 7, guys. There is a buyer there of note at 7, and there he goes. They've just been taken out. So we got a topping tail right back above 7. We go. We're zigging and zagging now in the high 90s. This is all sorts of crazy. I don't particularly like trading them when they're moving like this, because you just have to be. You have to make decisions super quickly. And that's not my forte. I like to see key levels and then work off those key levels. All right, we're going to halt to the downside here on GNLN. If we continue in this way for a few more seconds, 639 will be the halt level. We'll keep our eye on this one until it grays out, and then we'll, yeah. So we are halted now, 639 at 12:09:06. You can always use my screen to gauge when the halt level is. You just need only look at the top left there to see when the last print came in on the time and sales, and then you add increments of 5 minutes onto that. So GNLN up 107%, but it is now halted to the downside. Excuse me over here. I didn't mean to do that. Windows, you're pissing me off, Windows. Yeah, tell them, Joe.
I didn't want to hit that one. I want to hit that one there.
Oh, my bad.
Yeah.
You can hit that one, too.
Yeah. I hit it while you were gone. I did, I said.
Can I ask a question?
Absolutely.
Where's the VWAP video? It hasn't made its way onto the scene.
Hey, man, there's already been hotter videos that have been put out.
Bro, nothing can be hotter than that VWAP video.
Man? I'm going to see how many views that thing has here, man. Come on, man.
Joseph, you're a 6'4", bro. Can I tell you, you're a 6'4". You never get offended easily.
No.
You have thick skin.
Bro,
and
I'm a
you're
hockey guy.
Yeah, exactly. I love that.
Hey,
I love that.
mean?
You can actually joke around with this guy without getting all weird. Love this guy. He's an OG, no doubt. So let's keep an eye here on NEGG, guys. I've been waiting, just waiting for $15 to break. We're back up to $14.99, and we're still not printing above 15. Let's see what this one does. I mean, this is not my best trade ever, no question about it. I'm breaching a lot of my rules, getting into something that's a little illiquid. But it is showing me a good pattern, so that's the situation. Nothing else for me, guys. Just took a print there quickly on NFE, but yeah, we're not getting that flat top break through the $0.50. With any aggression at the moment, that doesn't mean that we're still not putting in umpteen amount of higher lows. I'm still very bullish on this one. I'm talking about NFE. One that I said very little about, and that was actually mentioned by somebody in the chat that asked me to look at it, VOR. This is a holdover from Friday. Was it Friday or was it a few days ago? It was on the 25th, whatever day that was. I had a great day on the 25th. A decent day Friday from top to low there. We're up 30 some odd %, but the better day was the 25th. Today it's having another good day, 50 some odd %. Very respectful of either the 10 exponential or VWAP, it seems. You can, all those closing prints in the wicks shadow off the green, and then when it did breach it, it found support right at the volume weighted average price. So VOR, another one that you can substantially size into. It's a 1 penny spread, so there is not that kind of same risk on NEGG. Also, you can size in substantially. Big boy shares, a few thousand shares, maybe 10, 15,000 shares on this. It's $1.62, so it really depends on how much money you have in your account and whether your broker gives you margins on these small cap gappers, which some don't because they're very high risk, high beta, and so the margin is dropped down. Go 1-to-1 on that. You're gonna have to check your brokerage.
Let's go. All right,
go, Joe.
All right,
Joe.
yeah. Let's go IBIT here. I hopped in on the IBIT trade here, guys. You know I like this name. And Sucka231, I gave it 50 cents on the TQs, right? Like I started really, really small. And again, if I get stopped out 50 cents, the share size is not substantial or anything along those lines. I wanted to see if the market was going to continue that move to the downside. But let's go here on IBIT, guys, getting a big time move here. And this is exactly what we wanted to see, looking for the continuation in the strength of what we were seeing earlier in the day. And when I heard somebody in the chat mention, hey, yeah, this thing's moved $1,000 in the span of a couple minutes, I'm like, all right, let's see if we can continue on this strength. We had those lows being held right at 60.05. And then I'm like, all right, let's hop in. And then I'm like, actually, no, wait, I believe this is going to be a move where we go and breach this previous pivot. So let me double up my position and slightly tighten my risk risk as well too. So there we go. We took a small fraction off, I think 5% or 10% or so right there. Not too much. So we're going to hold on to this. We have now broke through that high. I'm going to be looking for 61.35 and I'm going to post up there, guys. So a nice little move on IBIT. Maybe I'll go 33s just to be, just have a little fun with that and see if we can catch a fill on there. And then, yeah. Sucker, that's the thing with the TQs, right? So like, again, I'm just waiting for this. I can average into this position, right? As long as these pre-markets continue to hold. But with the likes of some of these bigger names starting to recover, then it may not be the greatest idea. But one thing to note, NVDA is starting to pull back. Gaurav, take a look at this signal. I pointed it out earlier. Now I'm just going to be patient and wait for the Qs to start to participate, especially if NVDA heads back towards the volume weighted average price. All right, guys, so keep that in mind. I can average in as well too, which would be totally fine, and then I can just have my stop at the same place. I just take a little bit larger of a loss. But be patient on this one. Pre-market low pivot. We might slowly curl over. This could be just some liquidity grab type price action, and then sure enough, we can head back towards the low. But that's what I'm talking about. As soon as we crack this support level and either volume picks up or the momentum picks up, it's like, boom, we're adding aggressively. But with that being said, also trails my stop. So when you're in certain markets, we always talk about smaller size, wider stop. And that's exactly what went on here. Succo 231. So I'm just starting really small size and giving myself a wider stop because I don't want to have that exact precision, especially when we're sitting in a consolidation zone just like this here, all right? So that's the game plan. You can see us slowly start to come in as NVDA is pulling back towards VWAP, Sharif.
All right, man. Keeping an eye here on still NEGG. There's really not much for me to report on, guys. Waiting at 15, 14.99, still showing up here on the level 2. It's got some higher lows, but I am concerned. This looks like very flat top breakish. My mistake on this one is not having added on the dips down. But, you know, I got to tell you, I'm kind of actually happy I did that because what if I added and this one continued to drop, given that it is very spready. Now, right now, we've got a 16 penny spread on at the moment, which isn't bad. Here we go. We're showing 15.10s. So that is the new high day. Here we go. We're still, holy cow, man, we're still not getting any print, but we moved the seller at 15. So 15.10 on the ask, 14.86 on the bid. I've got 77s on and I still don't have a print. That's how wide this spread is, okay? It's not printing me despite the fact that we are substantially above 15, and I'm live. This no sim, baby. There's no sim here. Boom!
No.
Finally, we get the print. So now we're about 50 pennies in the money. Let's see if this one wants to keep running. We don't even have any orders posted. Oh, baby, it's taking out all the levels. So just complain, right, Katina Man? So we're going to keep that one at 50. The Katina Man is back, by the way. And he's scarfing down some of the fantastic chicken that we have back there. Can we give him a quick view, Katina, man? You didn't get any of that extra chicken? Did you see how much chicken there was in that thing? It was prohibitive. There we go. There we go, baby.
No, you didn't want to bring it.
I know Joseph's going to definitely take a bathroom break now.
No, bro, I don't do that.
No Raquel back there?
Listen, I don't do that.
100% you're taking a bathroom break.
I don't do that. That's a page out of your book.
Katina Man. Katina Man, he's trying to say he doesn't take extra food. We all take extra food.
Wow.
We all take extra food. What's wrong?
Yeah,
Except Ramin.
Thank you, Ramin.
Except Ramin.
Thank you.
She leaves all her food in the fridge.
No. That's a direct jab at you.
I don't even know what the hell she said. Go check our fridge.
Yeah.
2 meals.
I said that. Two
meals are accounted for.
2 meals in the fridge left by Ramin. With
Boom! Joseph Wilson, we're taking out levels.
That chocolate bar is going to get eaten.
All right, man, I'm very happy that I packed my patience on this because this is a flat top break if I've ever seen one.
Okay.
Let's count how many wicks. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And then on the 9th time, it took it out. So boom on NEGG. We had the $0.75, so we get a 75 penny winner there. Very happy with this trade. It took a whole long time for that actually to manifest. But hey, better late than never, baby. What do you got, Joseph?
we're posted up here on iBit. As you can see, we're looking for the continuation. Hopefully this pullback isn't too deep, but we're still sitting in this TQ short, waiting for this to come into play. I might add a little bit up here, but nothing substantial. But Tesla looks like it wants to get going here, guys. So keep an eye out for Tesla if it decides that it wants to break out and through some of these key resistance zones right here, guys, on the 5-minute. One thing that we want to see, guys, is that volume start to pick up before you get involved in this name. Other than that, it's short the resistance and then buy into support. But let's go. Sucker 231. This is why we wait.
What did Ram say now? I want a full accounting of what
you?
she said. Yeah, what did she say?
She said, you said we all, when you said everybody takes extra food.
Well, maybe I was a little too wide with my statement there. She barely eats.
Yeah, but the we all is more or less directly pointed at the fact that we know that you're going to be taking extra food if there is some.
If there is. That's a big one.
If there is some. How was that salmon there?
Well, the salmon, you can eat Ram salmon from Friday. It's still in the fridge.
Why?
Adara, I'm sorry to keep you waiting.
Sorry, Adara.
It's okay. Interesting conversation there about the food. For the record, the only thing I've taken extra of is Parmesan cheese and croutons. Let's take a look here at Midday and Google. The information reporting that Temu is resuming Meta and Google ad spending in the U.S. META did get a little bit of a spike on this. As you can see, GeoOGL, no reaction. This name is still really weak, but keep an eye as well on PDD, of course. PDT runs Temu, so PDD getting a little bit of a spike. But yeah, again, to recap, the information reporting that Temu is resuming its ad spending for Meta and Google in the U.S. Back to the Bash Brothers. Oh, and we have an ad read before we send you back to the guys. So take a moment to thank our friends at PropXP, because you can level up your trading game with PropXP. Up to 1 to 200 leverage in static drawdown. Scroll the site and pick your challenge at propxp.com. Trade directly on our platform, sign up, try it for free, and start your trading journey. Enjoy rapid payouts and real human support. No bots. Rated 4.6 stars on Trustpilot. Trusted by traders worldwide. Right now, you can get 50% off with code TraderTV. Link is in the description, so be the trader, get funded. Join PropXP today. PropXP. Your trading edge starts here. Visit propxp.com.
You are fake news.
Adara.
You are fake news.
How come I can't hear Donald?
I'm really rich.
Fake news.
Yeah,
You can hear it? I
please
can't
do
hear it, Assassino.
Really? What is this? What did you hit? I'm really rich.
Oh, well, when Adara does the ads, I always
okay,
get
wait,
fake news, the troller.
You are fake news.
There we go. Now we got Donald.
There you go. There we go.
All right, shout out to my man Bovin. Thank you, Bovin, for pointing out GNLN. It makes a high day, Joseph. And then what does it do after the high
What does
day?
it do?
It's gonna hold down, my guy. There we go.
Boom, boom, boom. Yeah. So let me touch on something here, guys. iBit, we're all out of that trade here now, guys. We took a little bit off, but then we did get stopped break even. You can see it's starting to come back in towards the VWAP. And this is why we're just holding on to this TQ trade, right? So we're now kind of roughly around our break even. So, excuse me, let's see if we can get this continued breakdown. I mentioned Tesla heading towards the top end of the resistance, but the volume wasn't picking up. What happens? You reject it, and now you're heading back into the middle of the range. Microsoft is starting to come back in here as well, too. So a positive look for the short in the overall market. As soon as we start to work out and really head towards the middle of this range, lower end of the range is when we can start to add. And even there was a trade right now, guys, with an average in back into this entry price right now, but just want to be patient on this. I think it's going to take some time for it to get working, but if Microsoft decides that it wants to revert all the way back to VWAP, then I think there's going to be a trade and an opportunity to add, especially with the TQs breaking through some key support levels. There's something on the daily that I wanted to point out on Tesla, which I think it's going to be a potentially good swing trade opportunity and a chance to get involved in Tesla, but not just yet. We know that for the past couple of sessions, it has been relatively weak, but what I see here is that we have a specific support level at 315. If we break 315 and you kind of get like a volatility momentum spike, what I'm going to be looking for is a hold of the trend line, right? So let me get this going here for you guys, and then any form of indecision, and then that way you can start your position with via shares, and then even look to add contracts once it really starts to work out. So there it is. If this cracks anything below this support level into this trend line, indecision, if it doesn't display itself, then just leave it alone. But if it does, then you can look for a move. And then I think at that point, we're going to break that 364 level. One thing we're going to do before we send it back to Sharif is to see what the options chain is telling us and what the options market has priced in on Tesla. Are we going to be hovering around these neck of the woods, or are we having enough liquidity to kind of continue the topward trajectory? But that's not the case. Right now, there's nothing substantial. The options activity is relatively low, I've been noticing, on Tesla for the past little while here, guys, and nothing from a substantial amount of open interest is eye-popping. We got 342.50 with 10,000 open contracts, but I don't think that's enough to attract the price and then reject. And then we also have 340 as well, too, with 11,500 current open contracts. But again, I don't know if that's going to be enough either. So I'm not seeing anything that stands out. And when we're talking about utilizing the options chain, you want to utilize it, not when you just have kind of the normal stuff right now. You want to see abnormal activity, and you can base trades off of that, Sharif.
All right, guys, I'm just keeping my eye here on VOR as it worked into the high of the day. I'm also keeping an eye on NCPL. So this one has a rounded top into 7.5, technically 755, and it's coming down into VWAP. So I put a dip trade there at 82. So let's see if it triggers. All right, guys, we got another behind-the-scenes look at the Trade the Pool, but this time we're diving into the community side of Trade the Pool. And as you know, each trader gets his or her own hub, and inside that hub, you'll find Trade Talk, which is a powerful charting and analysis space where traders map out their strategies, break down setups, and share predictions with the community. And if you're looking for real-time interactive trades and community actions, the Trade the Pool Discord is where you've got to visit. It's full of active traders sharing insights, trades, and tips on how to grow together. At Trade the Pool, you're not trading alone. You're joining a firm that invests in your growth, technically, mentally, and financially. So head on over to tradethepool.com or scan that QR code on your screen. Shout out to Trade the Pool. So, all right, so NCPL. This is what I've been seeing on this one. The majority of the day, it's up 22 and change. It's not parabolic or anything, but it's stair-stepping up. Bull flag number 1, bull flag number 2, and now this is kind of giving up the ghost. So this one also suffers from that same affliction that NEGG suffered from, which is a spready nature. So I will give this one to the breach of 70. I'm looking at getting long at 82s, but because it's spready, I have to give it a bit more room than I typically would have. So a breach of 70, I'm out of this one. I still haven't triggered into it. I'm waiting for a VWAP retracement. VWAP showing me 80s. I've got my trade at 82s. You know, maybe I get it, maybe I don't. Sometimes there's areas of illiquidity there. So that is the situation. But also, BMNR is looking here at doing a rounded bottom, and it could be looking to take out that 23 area. Now, this one could have lots of bamboozlement. There's going to be a lot of bag holders from 29 to the current price at around 23. So let's see if it can clear 23. It wasn't able to do it here or in any of these topping tail candles. So 23, right off the bat, you can tell is an important intraday area of technical resistance. So that is the look here on BMNR. It could be looking to kind of move its way back up. That's the other one I'll be keeping my eye out on. The other one, so that I've given you NCPL. Oh, wow, look at that, Joseph. From 80s to 713, so I'm going to miss this trade. That's fine on NCPL. But there's this trade as well. VOR looking fantastic over here. Higher highs, higher lows. Respect for the 10 EMA. And there it is again. Another high day here on VOR. It's a dollar name. It's up 58%. You can size in substantially into these ones if you have, you know, some thousands there in your account. You can be in at least a few thousand shares. So be on the lookout here for VOR. It is not breaking trend. It's very strong. So keep your eye out on that one. And then, yeah.
That's it. That's how the cookie crumbles, brother.
Sure.
Each year, 3.8 million concussions are reported in the U.S., yet there is still no FDA-approved treatment. NYSE-listed Origenics, OGen, is changing that with its first-in-class intranasal drug designed for rapid brain access. With the concussion treatment market projected to reach $8.9 billion by 2027, Origenics is uniquely positioned to lead the way. Learn more and schedule a meeting today. Yeah. I can speak a lot about concussions. They are not fun. And if anybody else in the chat is suffering from previous concussions or post-concussion syndrome, I'm in your bed. So not literally, I'm in the same boat, I guess I should say, right? And it sucks. It definitely deteriorates sometimes the quality of your day-to-day life, and I wish that upon nobody either. So there it goes. Check it out, OGEN. You can scan that QR code right there, guys, because concussions are not fun whatsoever. Mushrooms cure concussions, homie, says Kanye.
Look at the guy on top of him, though. Customer ATH. How many concussions in Canada?
How many concussions? I don't know, man. Probably like 10% of that, right? If there's 3.8 million,
there you
know
go.
what I mean?
Perfect answer. That's a perfect answer.
There you go, 10% of that. There you go, 380,000.
What the hell is the difference?
Yeah,
There's got to be quite a few concussions. Like, we're not, as obviously, we don't have as many sports, but hockey, you get plenty of concussions.
Yeah, plenty. Well, because you think about it, you're in an enclosed battle arena with the frozen puck and carbon fiber sticks and blades as skates with boxing.
This guy's drawing the most ominous picture.
With boxing on.
We also have a healthy high school football thing, but we play CFL rules,
we play
Canadian
CFL
rules,
Yeah,
which is better for concussions because you have a lot more field to work, so you're not really kind of, you're not locked into the smaller field that they have in the States, so you don't really get hit as hard, and we don't have to be set. We can run.
Be in motion.
You can be in motion. You can have more than one guy in motion. Obviously, the wide receivers use that all the time to their advantage. They're running at the DBs, and the DBs hate that, especially when they come from college, because usually they're waiting for people to set.
Exactly. But they get that little head start, man.
Yeah,
when was the last time you were at a CFL game?
05, 06.
Oh, yeah?
Something like that. Yeah, it was like 20 years ago.
I
don't mind.
I think because they air it out, right? It's like, okay, we got run, but if they're making a pass play, they're airing it out. You know what I mean?
That's the thing. Second down is like third down.
Yeah,
we got 3 downs, right? So you're forced to throw. It's a lot. There's a lot of offense. To be fair,
there's a substantial amount of offense.
It's good. It's good. Yeah. I like that rule. Hey, you like that? Okay, that's cool. Yeah, man, look, there's a lot of nuance, obviously, to the Canadian rules of football. I personally didn't really like it when I was young playing with the Canadian rules because you always watch American television, you just want it to be the same. But as you get older and you're more proud, you don't mind it too much. And you see the nuance for what it is, too. You understand that, like, this is, better for this, that one is better for that kind of situation. CFL, we're talking CFL. Get it, CFL. Adara likes the Blue Bombers. She's
Westerners.
That's like one of the sports that you actually attend out in Winnipeg, right, Adara?
Yeah. So when I'm in Winnipeg or when I was there, I would usually go to at least 1 to 2 games a season. And it's worth noting the Bombers have been one of the best teams in the CFL at least the last 5 years.
They have been.
So lately it's been very easy to root for them, though they haven't won the Grey Cup in a little while. But yeah, go Bombers, go Blue, go Winnipeg.
Go Bombers. All right. Not a bad look.
Go Argonauts.
Not a bad look. What's that?
I said go Argonauts.
Yeah. Well, I'm just being nice. I can't say Bombers suck after she's done talking.
A kid I actually...
I'm not going to say that.
A kid that I used to hang around with and played high school football with, I'm not going to mention his name, but he actually made it... He actually made it to the CFL.
No way.
Yeah, he made it to the CFL. He played for the Red Blacks and everything, And I used to cover his...
You're kidding?
Yeah.
Used to cover him?
Yeah.
So you played DB?
Well, yeah.
I forgot about
safety
that.
and I played DB. In my junior years, I played middle linebacker. It's you know why though? Is because we were such a hockey town. Is that when we went into football, it's just like we can hit everything and anything and everything right now. They don't have to have the puck necessarily, and that's why I remember teams when we used to play football tournaments. They'd be like, "Man, you guys just hit everything and like hit hard too." And I'm like, "Yeah, we just want to
absolutely.
We just want to take your head off."
I don't know like what the rules were like when you were playing, but we had still not gotten all the protective rules that they have now. Like you could hit.
Oh yeah.
Like this. A lot of times, like spears wouldn't even get called.
You could spear.
You're not supposed to.
Really?
No.
Why?
Can't lead with your head, bro.
Oh, okay. Well, but I mean with the shoulder,
that's
right?
Not a spear.
Lead in your shoulder, Yeah, I used to be wild, man. I wouldn't even wear thigh pads or anything like that.
No, we would get checked every game.
I wouldn't wear thigh. But then, So it was a classic. So I was outside. He was inside. A linebacker. His name we called him Xander.
Yeah,
Anyway, so obviously what happens is I go high, he goes low. His helmet hits my thigh when I decide to wear no thigh pads.
Mother of all
and I
Charlie
couldn't.
horse?
Yeah. And it was actually like a multi-day Charlie horse. I couldn't even play hockey that week. It was so bad. Yeah.
Yeah, well, that's football, right?
Yeah,
like
it is
that's
football.
kind of the nature of the beast. Football without pads. Katina, man, I can't tell you how many times we got in trouble in 7th and 8th grade for playing tackle football when we weren't allowed.
Yeah.
Like it was constant. Well, we weren't. It was during recess, brother. We were just tackling each other without equipment.
If you weren't tackling each other, what were you doing?
And then they got so mad that we were getting 1-day suspensions. Anybody gets tackled, the person who got tackled and the tackler, boom.
I told you.
1 day
I told you I
suspension.
caught a suspension after I body checked my buddy cousin's. Hit my buddy's cousin. His name was Todd.
Okay.
Right into the garbage can. Remember how they had like the 3 garbage can recycling
100%,
thing?
yeah.
And that's where you would hit one day
Joey
I just
bullies.
One day I just smoked,
Joseph bullies.
One day I just smoked Todd in the garbage can, and then I caught a suspension.
Poor
after
Todd.
that, yeah.
What did Todd do, bro?
No, he touched the ball, man.
He touched the ball. Todd, that's rule number
Take his
1,
head
Todd.
off. Take his
Get
head
it
off.
together,
Yeah.
Todd. All right. He touched the ball, Obi. Go Sports, right? Yeah. It's killing me. Love Obi.
Back to back.
Why is he on camera? All right, guys, a little digression here. We do apologize. We're still in positions right now. I'm still in GNS. I should have been in VOR. That is on me. This one is headed to the high side. It is on that good stuff that they sell south of the border, not like your south. Yeah, it's that kind of stuff, Adara. 3-candle green setup right now off the 10 EMA and into $1.73 we go. We're up 63.25% at this level. This one is only looked at VWAP one time. One time only. It was an 11:15 candle, and then you can see it was a bottoming tail candle. So aggressive were the buyers at a chance to buy this bad boy up. And it really hasn't looked back since. So VOR is on that good stuff. And I saw somebody in the chat saying, I don't know how I feel about VOR. Look at that float. So let me have a gander at the float. It's 100 million shares. What else do you want, man? That's huge. We trade sometimes like single million digits, sometimes south of a million, like 500,000 and 600,000. Some of these Chinese ADRs are sub 1 million. So the float on VOR is 99.97 million shares with about 3.6% of that 100 million borrowed for short. So it's a decent short float, not the biggest. But the chart pattern here speaks on behalf of it, and it's a fantastic looking pattern, and I'm just lamenting not having gotten in. NFE is coming back down into the volume weighted average price, and my question to Joseph during happening now was, do I add at VWAP? We've had a lot of interactions with VWAP after that opening 9:30 to 10 kind of range where we zig and zag. Once we kind of got the stability under our wings here, we have been using, I'm talking about NFE, the volume weighted average price as support. It's happened multiple times, whether over here or over here, between essentially 10.55 and 11.15. And here we are working our way back down into 30 pennies. I've got 25s on, so a breach of VWAP doesn't put me negative. My only question to myself is, do I add at VWAP? So let's have a look at the area high here. It's essentially a 350 area high, and that has been the flat top all day. Even though you have that breach of that high at 845, look where the closing prints are, 340. Look where these closing prints are, 347, and these ones, 346. So it has certainly been the $0.50 that's kept us low. And here we are. Now we're at the volume weighted average price. So it's make or break time for me. Do I add here? Or what the hell do I do? We're showing 28s on at the moment. I'm going to add, bro. I'm going to add, and look, if it breaks 25, I lose 3 pennies. That's it. We're adding here, and then we're going to move up the stop into 3. We're going to go 323, okay? That way we give it like 4 cents, and then we'll give it all the way down to here. So that's what I'm looking at. I added at the volume weighted average price on NFE. Let's see what this one ends up moving back up, or VWAP is just kind of a little bit of a stop on the way back down. We'll keep an eye on that one. GNS continuing to go here, right back into that $1.50 area. Show me a $1.49. We've been packing our patience for a $1.50 break all day. I only have one print at the $1.50, and it did technically breach it. It got all the way up to 153, but I had no orders waiting there, so we didn't get anything printed at that level. So that is on focus to me as well. NEGG making me look like an idiot. Waited for that flat top break for a long time. We take prints up to 40s, but this one has got a high of day now of 65 pennies. So the higher lows and the higher highs are still intact right now on NEGG. We could see a move equidistant to this move here, 1180 to about 15. Okay, so if I'm measuring for the bull flag continuation, the textbook says that you should be looking from the initiation of the bull flag to the top of the range on the flag or pennant component. So that's clearly 15. That's where the breakout was. So you measure from basically $12 to 15. So we could have another $3 move possibly here on NEGG. So we could see 18s. Whether or not that ends up happening, we'll have to wait and see. So that is what I'm looking at right now. We're looking at NEGG, not NEGG, excuse me. We're looking at NFE, which just lost VWAP right now, comes into that $0.25, holds up there. So I'm keeping my eye on this one, looking to see if I'm going to get stopped out or what the situation is going to be. Also on NCPL, I have a dip trade here that is not going to get filled, it looks like here, because it looks like the buyer here is at 7. So I'm going to cancel this one. And if this one ends up holding 7, I'll punch back in to that level. But it doesn't look like it's going to make it down into the low 80s. So that's what I'm keeping my eye on. Shout out to Michael. Yes, I know I said equidistant. I have problems. Go ahead.
Okay. All right, cool. Yeah. Let's do that up. I think that's going to be a good idea here, Fabian. It's time to play a game. Time to play the game. Yeah, so what we're going to do is we're going to pull up our trusty stock trading game here, guys, where we get to vote. We just get you guys to start engaging as well, too. Let's see if I pulled up the right one this time. I did not, and I'm going to try it one more time. Sorry, this is slightly lackluster, but we're still sitting in this. All right, guys, the voting game. So you guys know what to do. We're going to start. Do I start it? Okay, yeah, here we go. So this is where you $ and then the ticker that you want to see this morning. I'm going to go $TQQ here. Right in the chat, guys, so make sure you get those submissions. I am submission number 1 right there, so make sure you guys get those. Boom, and there we are. And the top names, when we start that poll, you're going to either hit a 1 or a 2, but then that's also what's going to be on the afternoon rundown. So if there's a specific name that you guys want to see, then you're going to start right here, guys. So let's get that to a couple hundred. Hit those $, hit that ticker that you want us to talk about later on in the day.
Love it.
Because it's going to be a lot of fun. And here they go. We're starting to roll in, and we got to get that to 200 so we get that user engagement. So you guys are not always just talking. You get to do a couple of things as well. But one thing to note, let's talk about these potential trade going on with the market. So Google heading back towards VWAP. We have Meta now north of the volume weighted average price, and then NVDA is still slightly hovering above VWAP. We're short the market. Do you want to be short the market when all these names are starting to recover? Absolutely not. That's why we have stops in place. If things start to turn around, okay, then we're going to be in a good position. But if we get stopped out, we have our stop in place, and we're going to get out exactly when we need to. So just be cautious on what's going on. It's not the cleanest of price action that we're seeing here on the session, but be patient, and I think there's going to be some good trade opportunities. But with the TQs, as soon as we crack this pivot being up 1.4%, then I'll hop out, and I have no issues with that. And I'm not going to add into this just yet. I want the trade to start working so I can average in and not necessarily down. All right, there we go. We got 125. We'll start the poll right now, and it is MSTR and Circle. So hit those 1s and 2s. Start the voting. Number 1 for MSTR. Number 2 for Circle, so don't fall behind. I'm going to go MSTR for 1 because I know a lot of traders and investors are short MicroStrategy, but long Bitcoin. Let's see how that comes into play there, Sharif.
All right, man. BMNR is really kind of putting in a nice little pattern over here. And I'm really thinking about weaseling into this, believe it or not. I mean, we hold up VWAP, Joseph, everything is golden there. We basically hold $20, even though you have a few wicks below. If you're looking at this area high as the higher high, well, then technically we still have a lower high. But what I'm seeing is that curling effect and this kind of consolidation pattern that seems to have, if you zoom in really here, higher lows on all these candles, not necessarily higher highs, but you got higher lows. So we could get a flat top break through 24, and we've already seen BMNR's propensity to get parabolic. So I don't know if the best trade is behind this one or whether it can catch a second wind to test that $29 high. It's always hard to tell, but I'm going to keep my eye on this one. I could certainly be persuaded to punch in for smaller share size and maybe ride it up into 28, 27 bucks. We'll see on BNMR, so I'm packing my patience on that. I did take a few prints here on NFE, but it's still putting in lower highs and lower lows. So I'm keeping my eye on this one. The ad has been profitable. We scalped a couple of outs there on that name, but it's by no means really rocketing to the upside. GNLN is on that good stuff again. Here it goes. Back above the volume weighted average price. So this one could be breaching 6.5 awfully soon. Keep your eye out on that 640 area. That was the halt level from prior, and we are rejecting that 640 area. You can kind of see we topping tailed into 640 and failed it. So a decisive move above 6.5 would be an interesting entry here because it would be clearing that 640 area, which is, as we've mentioned, intraday area of support and resistance. So keep your eye out here on GNLN, and here we go. We're above 40s now, rejected again, but it feels like it's a matter of time until this bad boy clears above that level. So I'm going to be interested in weaseling back into GNLN. It's got a lot of opportunities to the high side, but a bit of a tougher entry on this one. So we'll keep tabs on that. It's the NFE thing that I really want to get the hell out of there. I don't like how this one looks. It's just continuing to put in lower highs and lower lows, and I don't want to be caught trying to DCA into this one. That's not my move. So that I will be keeping my eye on. Let me know what you guys are looking at. If there are any new small cap gappers making their way onto the scene, I don't really see any right now. I think we've covered the majority of them. All the other ones either seem to be, you know, the best trades behind them, or they're below the volume weighted average price, in which case they don't interest me.
Yeah, all right, guys. Let's see. We're momentarily going to get stopped out of this TQs. I know Katina Man's long the TQs, but I decided to take a little bit of a Amazon long here as well. Pretty weak on the day, but we got this hammer at an extreme low, so maybe we'll get a small pop in this. And I'm not expecting to get all the way back towards the volume weighted average price, but roughly close. Maybe we get 221. That's a key support level, and then we have another level right here. But it's just the hammer of what I'm essentially basing this trade off of. We don't have the volume signature or anything along those lines in our favor, but it's just how much we've sold on the day, and then we've seen multiple of them, and we haven't got that continued bounce. So starting really small on Amazon, and then if we crack the pivot high on the TQs, then we'll just hop out of that trade as well too. So just keep that in mind. That's what we got cooking up. I think this is going to be more of a slow grind. So I'm in right here around, what is my average? 219.79, so 5 cents out of the money, but then we'll give it about 60 cents, 70 cents or so, just a little bit below this candle wick. If it really starts to work out, then I'll add into this position just to get the ball rocking, and the Qs might want to squeeze on that front. If Amazon decides that it wants to participate, then yeah, we're gonna definitely add, which I'm gonna do right now. Enough with the small talk here. Just do it. Yeah, Shia LaBeouf, just do it. So let's see if we can get that bounce. Yeah, I mean, you gotta take those swings sometimes. So we're involved on some Amazon. We're gonna get out of the TQs here momentarily because I'm kind of like hedging against myself with the long Amazon and then short TQs. Not necessarily the best idea, especially if the Nasdaq decides that it wants to. Fabian, what you said you want me to do, just send me a DM there. Sorry, I was kind of focusing, so I didn't really completely register on what you were you got planning on. But I'm more than intrigued and more than willing to do what you were referring to. So, okay, that's it. All right, we do that, and we'll continue to do that. But let's pull up Amazon here. enough of that talk. Come on, Amazon, pull back or start pulling back towards VWAP. 221 would be prime time Deion Sanders, but I don't know if we're going to get that necessarily. But any slow grind towards some of these key resistance zones, we already have our risk profile defined. So if we break 219, then we'll just hop out of that trade. The Nasdaq can't break through this pivot, so that's a good sign for that short. But I want this trade to work out as well too. So long Amazon, short the Nas. Let's see how this comes into play. Usually not the best idea to be short a tech and then long an individual, but anything can happen, especially if they become their own individual movers. But with that being said, Sharif, you know what next step is? We're going to take a look at Amazon's options chain to see if there is something going on why we specifically rejected this 224 level. What do? We want to look for.
What do you want to look for, Joe? What happened? What happened?
I was going to say we want to look at 225 to see what's going on at the 225 strike price. And where do you think has the most amount of open
I'm
interest?
going to guess it might be 225.
What a guess, man. 27,000.
Said something different.
Yeah, well, I was but see, the thing is, though, I was expecting you to do, and I was going to be like, hey, you know what I mean? Maybe next time we'll get them. But there it is, guys, and this is why we always talk about it. You can see that high of the day on Amazon, roughly around 224, maybe a little bit more than that. And then look where the high concentration of open interest is on this week's expiration cycle. 225, 27,000 open contracts. It's relatively larger than what we are seeing. What is that telling me? That we're going to need to absorb that in order to climb higher, but now we're going to be rejecting it through the day. 227, 225 resistance zones on Amazon.
Joseph, we weaseled into VOR at 67s, and we just took out the high of the day at 74, so we're layering the orders now. The next beak wetter is going to be at 75, so let's see if we're able to take out that seller here that's posting at 74. So I'm quite pleased with this trade. It has been awfully respectful of the 10 exponential moving average on the 5-minute chart. I'm talking about ticker VOR. And you bet your bottom dollar this breach of 65, we're gonzinos. How many times does it need to defend 65 for me to see that there is certainly support there? So if there's no longer support there, well, then I'm going to get the hell out. Simple as that. I've moved up my stop now to the breach of 65. So let's go ahead and, or 64, excuse me. So let's go ahead and cancel that previous area, which was a lower area stop. So that's the look there. Now I'm happy with my instincts here on NFE because I added at the volume weighted average price, but this one put in a lower high on the subsequent candle. So I kind of had a feeling that this was going to break down, and I flattened out. Kind of hard to see, but I flattened out right there. So we're no longer involved in that bad boy. We are gonzino there. For ended up being a winner, believe it or not. We got 3 beak wetters there, not for much, but a winner is a winner. So we're going to keep tabs there. My only criticism of myself right now has been on my execution or lack thereof on BMNR. And here it goes again. It just broke through 24 like it doesn't even matter. That had been a very good technical resistance level on the day. Here comes $25. The squeeze is back on, baby, for BMNR. Here it is. High there is around 25. I think, just give you the exact level. 24.95 is the current high of this candle. So there is a seller 5 pennies below the $0.25 right now. So keep your eye, or the $25 area. So keep your eye out on this one. The high of the day is 29, but I'll submit to you, if this one lacked halt parameters, this could see 29 quick as you freaking like. So on the way up right now is BMNR, taking out 24, looking to take out 25. It had good support, I want to say, at the 10 exponential moving average on the 5. So we'll see if that ends up being the same situation or what. So I'm going to try to see if there are levels here that I can work off, but it moves really quickly, so you got to make a quick decision. This was my problem, though. I should have been keeping an eye on this kind of compression pattern that it had been putting here. I debated it multiple times whether or not to get in, and I decided not to because I was already in other positions that I had to manage. That's my fault. And we'll look to do better next time. Back to VOR here, that newer position, rejecting that 75 penny area. So that seller at 75 we couldn't shake. More like the seller at 74 because we weren't able to clear 74. That is technically the high of the day right now. 74 pennies, $1.74 on VOR. Adair LePage.
The show is brought to you by our friends at VinFast. There's some big EV news out of Jakarta. VinFast VFS just locked in a major financing deal with Bank Central Asia, one of Indonesia's top private banks. The partnership opens up flexible credit options for VinFast dealer network, covering everything from EV purchases to spare parts. That means that means smoother inventory, better cash flow, and a stronger push to scale up across the country. It's a smart move to speed up Indonesia's shift to green mobility and a key step in VinFast expansion plan. Back to you.
Yeah, thanks for that. Adair, anything you want to touch on before I take it? Are you good to go? Google Katina Man short Google right at VWAP. There it is, the indecision print, bang, drag the market down for us there, Katina Man. We like to hear that one. He is short Google, but yeah, there it is. Let's see if we can get this pop in Amazon. You can see that we're sitting in the Qs and Amazon, so yeah, a little bit of a like, what is Joe doing? But we see certain things on the chart, then we have to try to take advantage of them. I haven't added substantially. We did double up the position right here, just in case we get that pop, that exactly what we're looking for right there. I think this is gonna be a key level. We pointed this out earlier, that this 220 level, very, very important. In order for us to break through this, we're going to need a little bit more volume to step in on that one. But you can see the Qs, we've almost double topped here, guys, on the Nasdaq. But if it breaks through, and I think if Amazon wants to recover, then you can snap through that, and then we'll just hop out of the short. And if Amazon really wants to get the steam engine rolling, then we'll just add even more into this position to just subsidize on the loss that we're going to take on the TQs. But yeah, let's go. Going to be patient. I think this one's going to be more of a slow burner and not too much going on. But the dead one is most definitely coming into play. Yeah. This thing is really weak, Sharif. I think the sentiment around it's not too good. Yeah. No S on that one. So we'll have to wait on this one. Here it is. But there's a trade to be had here, to be honest with you, in my opinion, right?
Yeah, you know when I say boo and stuff like that, I'm just, putting on a show.
Obviously, yeah, because we know, I'm the same way. It's like, yeah, you suck, blah, blah. It's like, obviously you don't suck, like that much. You suck, obviously, but I mean, like, you got $100 billion in free cash flow. You've been doing something right for an extended period of time. Just not this period of time is when you start to suck, because people don't remember everything, all the good you've done, only what you've been doing right now. But there it is. At some point when we do break through this resistance here, guys, and sit on the backside of it, I think there's going to be a trade to be had there. I'm looking at this one. I was just doing some TA over the weekend, and then this is also another potential trade I'm looking at. Surprise, surprise. UNH. What is going to go on with this one? An Adara favorite, and I'm thinking, hey, are we going to break through this resistance, hold this support level, and then head in towards this gap? So, I mean, we can grab some contracts on this name, but I don't want to start with that. I would start relatively small with just a couple shares. Once the thesis started working, and then you're a couple $100 in the money, then that's when you add the shares and then look for this gap to start to be filled. And I think it's going to come into play. It's either going to break down.
It's either
going to break down or it's going to break up. And then hit the weed Batman. The weed Batman. Weed Batman. Weed Batman. Weed Batman.
Oh.
My favorite. There it is. Weed man. But there you go. Yeah, welcome. Man, they got a whole streetcar in Toronto dedicated to weed. Did you see that thing?
No.
Is it dedicated? Yeah, there's
a street corner on every street dedicated to weed.
A streetcar though, like it's driving around advertising. Yeah, I swear to God, you never seen that thing?
No, I didn't.
A street car. Yeah, pure advertisement. Yeah, the whole thing is just.
Can I bring up that issue? Have you seen any marijuana advertising, save and except for that streetcar?
Not too much, no.
I've seen zero.
Yeah.
Is there a restriction?
They probably don't want to
your friend Co-Pilot active there?
Yeah.
Well, the alcohol. Well, I know cigarettes, the same thing. Yeah. I'm assuming because of the carcinogens. Because you're not going to convince me at any point that alcohol is not more detrimental. In larger quantities than marijuana. So
I don't think there's an argument to be had there.
No, I don't personally think so.
Yeah, so that's my two swing ideas, right? So we got to be patient on these things here. UNH, you guys like the weed man, eh? That's a good one. There's UNH and then there's Apple. Those are the two names that I am eyeing right now. I think Apple's going to be a good buy, especially once they get a couple tailwinds under the belt. Then it's going to be catch-up trade and some big-time movements in AAPL, but that might be a year or even no. Look at the bear market AMD was in for a while, right?
Yeah.
It was over about a year and a half, maybe even close to 2 years. AMD was in the dumps. It sucked. It was down 50% at one point, even more, even like 85%. But then look at the monster run it went on. I think Apple has way too much cash and too much going for it. One of the most popular phones. When you have 2.3 billion active users, then I think it's only a matter of time until things turn around. We just have to wait for that. Adara, what do you got for us?
At 1 p.m., we have not one, but two speakers on watch. One of them is going to be Fed's Goolsby. He's talking starting at 1 p.m. Because sometimes these Fed speakers can move the market. Fed's Goolsby, along with quite a few of the Fed, have been a little bit more hawkish as of late. So keep that in mind. The other speaker to watch out for at 1 p.m. is Caroline Leavitt. That is the White House press secretary. She's running a conference, and we know that she can and often is asked about these market-related questions, specifically tariffs. If there's anything of note at either of these events, I will certainly let you guys know. The other thing I want to mention, too, has to do with the Fed. We have TD Securities with a bit of an analyst note. They're saying that June jobs data, which comes out, of course, on Friday with the NFPs, could actually help lead the decision with regards to a July rate cut. TD Securities says that if there's a big miss in terms of Thursday's job numbers, that could actually trigger a cut. But if employment is a little bit different than that, we might not get that cut. So keep an eye on NFP prints, because TD says this could be one of the deciding factors, if not the deciding factors, with regards to a cut potentially in July. Back to you.
So we just did a little chat GPT quick search over here. According to chat, what is allowed, so there is some qualified advertising allowed for cannabis in Canada. Brand name promotion is factual, not in a glamorous way. Inside cannabis retail locations where minors are not permitted, you're allowed to advertise. Packaging with brand elements with, I don't know what the hell that means. Educational content, okay. So how to use THC or CBD info. What's not allowed, promoting to youth or appealing to them. I'm assuming that would be through flavors, because that's what the tobacco industry got dinged for, their flavors to attract minors. Testimonials, endorsements, celebrity, influencer promotion, depictions of emotions or lifestyle or glamour, like you feel great. Promotion via mass media, like TV, radio, social media, unless access is age-gated. Interesting. So you can actually advertise on mass media, but it's got to be age-gated. Price or distribution incentives like giveaways or discounts. Interesting. I didn't think they were allowed to advertise at all, bro. Just to tell you the truth. I didn't think that was
pretty appealing. I mean, the things were colorful, but it does say "Don't drive high" right at the top.
Well, yeah.
Right?
Well, they've got that all over the highways.
All over the highways. Yeah, exactly. So.
All right, guys. Nothing really going on here for me. Just the same positions, but BMNR is really headed again to the high side here. We're taking out 25, so the rounded bottom has been absolute money. It's just a matter of time, I think, till we take out highs. The high is $29 on the dot. You know, this is one of those ones where, like, why am I not involved in this here? And, you know, $24 is where the 10 EMA is hanging out, so this one could be a really good one off 24. It's been really respecting the 10 EMA, even though it's been a wild one. It moves dollars at a time, but even with that, it's still respecting these technical levels. So I'm going to keep my eye here on BMNR. This one's the gift that keeps on giving, back above 500%. The strength on this one is prohibitive, and even so, it's still got possibly more upside. Even if it was to get back to that 29 and clear it, we could see at least maybe close to quadruple digits today. We're still yet to have a quadruple digit winner above $1 in small cap, gap, or world this year. Believe it or not, we've been very close. I forget exactly which ones have been close. I'm talking strictly above $1, not the ones that trade below it, below the 4 decimal places. Or the 4, yeah, you know what I mean. So that's what I'm going to keep my eye on here, BMNR. I'm going to do the news, though, Joseph, right now. Do you have anything you want to talk about before I weasel into the news?
Yeah, I mean, some people, you and I touched on it a little bit this morning. Someone in the chat mentioned they were talking about something about Perplexity.
Okay.
Yeah, they were in talks with it a while ago. I don't know how those are still going, Sharif. Okay. But it would be the largest acquisition, or if they were to buy a stake in it, since the Beats by Dre, which I was telling you about, was roughly around like 3-point-something billion. Yeah. And I think Perplexity is valued around 14 billion, so it would be substantially larger in everything that happened with Beats by Dre, that's for sure.
Absolutely, but I don't see any, I personally don't think that there'll be an acquisition of a large language model by Apple in the same way that there wasn't an acquisition of a search engine by Apple. It'll just be incorporated somehow into the OS, and they'll try to make it like a seamless experience. That's just my opinion. I have no idea what the hell they're doing over there. There is a lot of Apple news, though. Ming-Chi Kuo was taking to social media today to talk a lot about the AR glasses that are apparently coming to Apple. There's about 7 different products here discussed by Ming-Chi Kuo. All of them are obviously speculative at this point, but he's been quite accurate in the past. He's talking about, you know, a new version of the, what's it called? The Vision Pro. That's going to be 40% lighter, but same form factor. So it's not going to have that heavy weight. It's going to be about 40% lighter, but that will be apparently Q4 or Q3, well, which is now, believe it or not, of 2025. And then he's talking about you know, these more like Meta-style Ray-Bans that come on a bit more advanced, that don't actually project anything onto the lens, but read your surroundings and hear your surroundings, as well as there's an earpiece as well. And then he's talking about 27 and 28, when we may get the actual ones that project on to the lens, the ones that we've been talking about. I think that is the future form factor. Whether or not it ends up happening, we'll have to wait and see. I'll get to all that in a second, but let's start here, the news. I'm just gonna set up my, what's it called? Charts here, so I can keep my eye on my positions in case, you know, whatever hits the fan. So let's do this, Assassino. We're gonna make this a little bit bigger over here. Let's start out with this. So, you know, not much of a headline today, but Canada has reversed its decision to implement a 3% digital service tax on big tech just one day before the collections were set to begin. Obviously, Canada and the United States engaged in a trade negotiation. The move comes after President Donald Trump threatened to terminate all trade discussions with Canada, and that the tax was actually set to apply retroactively, which pissed a lot of people off, back to 2022. And would have affected firms like Amazon, Google, Meta, so the hyperscalers here. And you want my honest opinion? It was a cash grab. The trade talks are back on track, excuse me. So Prime Minister Mark Carney said that the pause is meant to support the renewed negotiations towards that deadline that's momentarily away, I think July 9th or 7th or something like that. However, Carney warned Canada will only take a good deal and will take as long as necessary to achieve one. The tax, which was introduced under the former Prime Minister, who's no longer in power, back in 2020. You want to cover that, Adara?
It's not major. I think the headline on the screen basically says it all. DraftKings just kind of launching a tool to help enhance its responsible gaming tools and resources. Kind of put it on the screen just so you guys are aware of it, but I will let you continue the story.
Thank you, Adara, for that. Excellent look there. So the tax was introduced back in 2020. It was aimed to fill a gap where the tech firms profited from Canada but were taxed locally. Ottawa intended it as a temporary measure until the global tax framework kicked in, but the retroactive nature really annoyed a lot of people. Joseph, anything you want to comment about that?
I'm just managing some positions right now, to be honest with you.
All right, let's go on. OpenAI looking to diversify their GPU game. They're not a one-hit wonder with NVIDIA anymore. They are buying these TPUs, which is another AI chip called the Tensor Processing Unit, from our very good friends at Alphabet, obviously Google, marking its first major move away from the exclusive reliance on NVIDIA. Previously, OpenAI was heavily dependent on NVIDIA's GPUs, both, guys, for the training and the inference component of AI. The shift signals, obviously, increasing demand pressure and a search for cost-effective alternatives amid the ongoing AI infrastructure bottlenecks. So the new arrangement involves OpenAI renting, not buying, Google's TPUs. The TPU will primarily be used for the inference, not the training, running AI models post-training, helping OpenAI reduce operational costs. But here's the silver lining. So we know OpenAI and Google's are competitors, right? So I just got stopped out of my VOR trade as it lost that 60 penny area. So OpenAI and Google are competitors. And Alphabet, Google, took that into consideration. So they're reportedly not leasing or letting OpenAI use their most advanced TPUs. They are reserving their best TPUs for their own models, namely Gemini 2.5 and whatever comes after that. So that's interesting there, where, you know, they're doing business together, but they're very much realizing that they are competitors. So nice move there by your boy Sundar to keep Altman sweating a little bit over there. Anything you want to add, Joseph?
Yeah, I got stopped out of my
Oh my God, BNMR.
Amazon. Yeah, I got stopped out of Amazon here. So we're out of this trade, guys, right around the low. Gave it a little bit more wider risk, but then I just punched extreme. I punched pretty heavy there, adding into this potential TQ's play here. So there we go. We added substantially more shares. Let's see if this comes into play. That's what I got cooking on right now, Sharif.
Wow, what an
Amazon,
unbelievably strong one, bro. Look at that BNMR. If Assassino, we can show this. We're $1 off the highs, guys. It's a 28 seller right now on BNMR. This thing is parabolic. It's going above the $0.25. This thing is going to squeeze above 29. It's just a matter of time, man. Oh my goodness, this thing's back to 570%. Joseph, we just touched the $29 high. There it is. We're at $29 right now. A bit of a seller here in the mid-90s that we can't really shake, but you kind of feel like it's just a matter of time. This one really, really squeezing now. It likely will break $29 momentarily. So if you're into these small cap gappers, yeah, this is the king of them all right now. Keep your eye out on that. 28.90. We're going to halt here. Is it going to be a false halt? It is a false halt. And there's the new high of the day, 29.43. We shake the seller there. Do we squeeze now into the 30s, or is this going to be kind of the fake out? And then we drop back down, halt down before we take out that $30 level on a subsequent attempt. We're not able to get to 30 quite yet. Still zigging and zagging, 29.45 high. So be on the lookout here. We could see $30 momentarily on BMNR. What a look on this one. Let's go on here. With the news, Palantir, yet another deal. And when you love, what I love to see with Palantir here is the commercial deals that they keep striking. We hear a lot more. I want to say 50-50 almost these days between the government contracts and the commercial contracts that Palantir is securing. And today, it's with Accenture Federal Services, ticker ACN. They announced a landmark partnership naming Accenture as a preferred implementation partner for U.S. federal government clients. The agreement kind of enhances Palantir's go-to-market strategy by leveraging ACN's federal tech expertise as well as their government service footprint. So the thing is, they're going to include about 1,000 professionals in Palantir's Foundry and AI. They're going to be using AIP, which is their AI platform, establishing what they call a joint delivery capability for federal clients. Some of the uses they're going to be used for is enterprise edge-to-edge data fusion, predictive supply chain orchestration, and operational finance intelligence. You can kind of read what those things are there if you're more interested, or you can kind of do your own research on that and give you the news. Any comment, Joseph, on Palantir?
Palantir, no, I say that name, like, we can talk about this name from a percentage metric and what it's been up on the year. This thing has been on a big time run. I compare it to the likes of Robinhood, and even though it's not Robinhood, totally different world that it lives in. But look at these Liberation Day lows here, guys. That's going to put it around 66 bucks. What are we trading at right now? Up 107%. So you just doubled your money essentially in a span of a couple of months there on Palantir. And I think it's going to continue to rock and roll. So keep your eyes out for PLTR.
All right. The next one here is TSLA. And I'm just going to show you the video because there's really no point in talking about this. Car delivered itself. So it just got out of the Gigafactory Austin, okay? In front with this Tesla in front of it. And there's nobody in the driver's seat, and there's no safety driver, as you can see. And this is the side view of the car. I'm sure you guys have already seen this. We'll play a couple of seconds here so we don't get dinged on by YouTube. Let's just move up a little bit when we get on the road. So I'm just going to show you different clips. It's on the highway here. So as you'll recall, the robotaxi is restricted from using the highway currently, as well as driving under bad conditions with like rain and stuff like that. This didn't apply here. So this is clearly driving on the highway, right? Whereas, you know, the robotaxi itself was not. Let's move up here. It goes on to some side streets. And then it goes on to, you know, where it was in a precarious situation several times where it was like, in this instance, for example, it's on a one-lane road with cars parked on the side and a bike lane there. So it's, you know, it's navigating different environments. And then we'll just show the delivery component there at the end as it works its way right into that guy's apartment. He's waiting there with the Tesla, you know, execs who are obviously scheduling this entire thing. And there it is. The car goes literally from the factory to this dude's apartment.
The guy's like, oh my God.
But the Katina man brought up a really good point this morning.
Yeah.
I don't know how you feel about this, but I tend to agree with him 100% on this. It was a very exciting time for me to buy my cars.
Yeah.
Okay, there was the, you know, the bump and grind negotiations. Initially, then you get the date where you pick up the car, you go to the bank, you get that certified check. You know what I mean? You go over, you haggle the salesman for a couple of freebies. No, throw me some mugs. No, throw me some winter tires.
Or an
It's
extended warranty. Or
you know
an
what I mean?
extended warranty,
Like you bring your girlfriend, you bring your old man, whatever the hell people you're doing. And this is a little anticlimactic. I don't know how I feel about this.
Yeah, that's totally fair. I mean, some people, what if about the opposite party, people who don't want to go to the dealership and deal with all that. And,
good point.
Right? And
Fantastic
have
point.
to be like, all right, well, can you take 20K off this or 5K off or extended warranty? What if people don't want to deal with all that nonsense?
That's
like,
a good point.
Hey, you know what? I just want to order my car and I want it to show up at my door. I don't want to, no questions asked, wham, bam, that's it. And moving forwards.
No, you're absolutely right. And I think that there probably will be two camps.
Right.
People like myself that have the nostalgia.
Yeah, and this guy right here who's like, no, you know
This
what?
guy ain't give a, you know what, bro? He says, bring my
That's
car.
a nice neighborhood in Austin, too.
Yeah, exactly.
That looks like my type of
There you go.
neighborhood there.
All right, Adara, what do you got over there?
You might like this one, Sharif, because it has to do with too late Jerome Powell. Those are not my words. Those are those of Donald Trump, who just shared a new post on Truth Social. And I'm going to read it. Jerome, too late Powell, and his entire board should be ashamed of themselves for allowing this to happen to the United States. They have one of the easiest yet most prestigious jobs in America, and they have failed, all caps, hyphen, and continue to do so. If they were doing their job properly, our country would be saving trillions of dollars in interest costs. The board just sits there and watches, so they are equally to blame. We should be paying 1% interest or better. So, again, more comments here on the state of interest and specifically Fed Chair Jerome Powell from President Donald Trump. Back to you.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well,
there you go.
Adara, weasel in for a second. So you've obviously you've reported on this already that he's, Donald Trump, looking at naming a successor way ahead of time.
Yes.
Do you think, Adara, that if he does name said successor, the market then starts kind of digging into this successor and kind of trying to gauge, predict how he will govern as Fed president, and then, Adara, that gets priced into the market? Thoughts?
The pricing in aspect is really, really interesting. I think right now, like I said, Kevin Warsh seems to be one of the top competitors. We know already how he feels about the Fed. He's very down for rate cuts. He actually used to be on the Fed. So I think if that is the case, maybe we price it in right away, but I don't think it's going to, I think it'll probably be an immediate reaction type thing, if that answers your question. For what it's worth, both Kevin Hassett and Scott Bessent were asked today, hey, what would you do on the Fed chair? Scott Bessent says that he likes his job, but if Trump wants him to, he'll take it. So it's kind of waffly.
Well, he's being discussed as one of the likely candidates.
Well, he is,
right?
yeah. He is being discussed one of the top competitors. But it is worth noting that we actually already had the White House say that Scott Bessent's not up for the job.
That's what I heard.
So I think that either means that he definitely is or he definitely isn't, depending on how you read that. Kevin Hassett, for the record, declined to comment when he was asked today, and he seems to be like one of the least likely competitors.
How about that other guy who's currently on right now? What was his name? He was appointed by Trump.
Our friend Waller.
Yes, thank you.
So Waller, I think, is mostly being put in the prediction markets. I'm not really seeing any news sources consider him, but I think the prediction markets think he'd be a good shot. We know Trump would obviously like that. Waller has been a little bit more dovish as of late. My opinion, though, I mean, he literally told Kevin Warsh he wished he picked him over Powell. So I think, at least in Trump's mind for now, it's probably Warsh.
Fair. Thank you for chiming in, Adara. All right, let's keep going over here. We did the Tesla headline. Let's talk a little NVIDIA. So a little sell-in. you know, Jensen, he's wetting his beak, and there's nothing wrong with that. He's got to take some profits there, Joseph. So NVIDIA insiders, believe it or not, have sold over $1 billion in shares in the past 12 months. That was being reported by the Financial Times. Roughly $500 million in insider sales occurred in just the last month. Again, guys, it's aligning with NVIDIA stock hitting all-time highs. That is to be expected. The sales were also partly driven by the surpassing of that $150 price level, which triggered already preset plans to offload shares. According to verified data, our very good friend Jensen sold about $900 million plus the stock sale plan, unloading about 6 million shares, Joseph, already year to date. And he's still like the biggest shareholder easily. Recent filings showed that Huang sold about $50 million worth of stock in the latest wave. Despite the selling, though, he retains a massive net worth of $138 billion. He's number 11 on Bloomberg. What the hell?
Yeah.
Like, where are these guys at now, these billionaires?
Yeah, I mean, doesn't he have 300 million shares or something along those lines? And he just sold like, what is it, less than 1%? And that equaled 900 million?
It is.
So, yeah, I mean, to speak of the volume that these guys have is absolutely insane. And yeah, but just to talk about the open interest and everything along those lines, can we do a picture-in-picture by any chance? Like I show my screen and Sharif show his screen at the exact same time? Or is that not feasible? Or is that not obtainable? We can't do that? If we can, this is what I want to do. This is what I want to do, brother.
Okay, you let me know.
Is this. I just want to say with the news headline and what you got going on, and I want to display 160. 160, yeah, and get it off me, get it on here.
I think they're trying to figure out how to do,
how to do that.
Picture in
picture. Maybe we don't have that asset. There we go. I found a new problem that we could potentially solve there, Street. But anyways, just to correlate what the options market is telling us, we've seen it before when we heard the likes of Jensen was selling what we've seen at 150, 145 from an open bank. Wow, there it is.
Man,
all right, so there we go. Fantastic job. There you go. They can get it done. If we need it, they get it done. And thank you guys for Fabian and Assassino.
Best team in the business, bro.
So there it is. Right, so we have another call. Wall Street is essentially what I'm getting at 106.
Understood.
All right, at 160. Sorry. Wait until that's lifted. Wait until they're done selling, and then what happens when that is lifted and it goes to a higher strike? Now we have a path of least resistance, and then that's what we've seen in the likes of NVDA going. That's what I said 155 last week is most definitely in the works, and we continue to climb higher because that level was lifted and then it was put into a higher increment there. So.
All right, guys, let's go on the news over here. Moderna, I mean, to me, it's a nothing burger, but for whatever reason, the market likes it to the tune of 2.25. Moderna flu shot clears key milestone in the combo jab resubmission coming. In case you're wondering what this combo jab is, supposed to be COVID and the flu together. So Moderna's experimental mRNA-based flu vaccines named mRNA 1010 showed a 26.6% greater efficacy than their standard shot in a phase 3 trial with over 40,000 adults. Among seniors, the shot was 27.4% more effective than the 26.6. That's how I read that, reinforcing its potential to reduce severe outcomes for vulnerable populations. And, you know, obviously I don't like to, you know, paint with a very wide brush, but I feel like that is the group that would still benefit the most from this. Personally, I don't want to hear anything about COVID. Okay, I feel like Moderna is kind of tone deaf to the you know, the social, economic, and just the cultural climate right now. Nobody gives a you-know-what about COVID at the moment, and they really need to focus their technology, this mRNA technology, on something else, man, because I'm sick of hearing about COVID. Let's go on a little bit over here. OpenAI. You don't have anything to say about that, do you?
Sorry, I was reading something.
Yeah, good, good, because it's not important anyway. Meta poaches key researchers. We reported to you guys, I think about a couple of weeks ago, that Zuck was losing his mind. I mean, looking to poach a lot of OpenAI employees, and apparently he's been successful. He recruited 4 senior OpenAI researchers to join Meta's superintelligence lab. According to an internal Slack message, OpenAI's chief research officer, Mark Chen, described the poaching as a visceral loss, comparing it to someone breaking into their home. Meta is reportedly offering signing bonuses of an eye-watering $100 million to top AI talent, targeting researchers from both OpenAI and Google. Chen assured staff that he and the CEO, Sam Altman, are working around the clock to retain top performers, including recalibrating compensation. I think that is the right move there, and devising new incentive structures. Look, he can't be complacent about this. You know, Zuck's got a lot of money, and probably maybe more than Altman has, even though Altman's been raising like crazy lately and he has a lot of support from the market. But the fact of the matter is, he can't be complacent. He's got to make sure that talent that got him there stays there. Otherwise, you know, Zuck's going to be ahead of him. So I think he's doing the right thing by being alert to this. So OpenAI emphasized fairness and retention, noting they won't overpay one employee at the expense of the overall team equity. You got to keep that balance, otherwise people get pissed off.
Tell the Leafs that.
Oh, that is a good point, though. That's definitely not the case in sports. Let's just be honest. Yeah. Well, that's the way it is. OpenAI employees reportedly face 80-hour work weeks, prompting the company to plan a company-wide recharge week, although execs will still work. Some leaders believe Meta may take an opportunity for this recharge week to exploit the downtime to pressure staff into fast hiring decisions during the break. This guy's oh man, Zuck is, not only is he a droid, but he's a little sneaky droid, eh?
Yeah.
Joey Slither's got nothing on.
Whoa, watch out now.
I love it. Look at this guy.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just looking to place a bet here.
Sir,
no,
go,
but
go,
in all reality, Sharif,
Yes,
I think just what Zuck is doing, I know you think it's like, I don't know if I think you mentioned to me saying that you think he's trying to play catch up or anything like that, but I still think that this race is so tight. Yeah. And we talked about it from a CapEx standpoint as well too. Now he's just going into to scale AI. He's dumping a lot of money in this. This race is only going to get more competitive as we get down the roads, and you're going to see more capital expenditure through some of these names. So,
I agree with everything you just said there. I think he is in a bit of a panic mode.
Like, well, because Llama 4 being
he was not happy with it, and I'm assuming he has very high standards.
Right. So there you go.
Adira.
So one of these headlines you're actually going to find pretty interesting, Sharif, because you just talked about it, but we're getting more updates. Bloomberg News reporting that apparently Mark Zuckerberg, CEO of Meta, who we were just talking about, has announced Meta's superintelligence effort and even more hires. If I get more details on this, I'll let you know. But either way, it's been reported for a while that Mark Zuckerberg was working on this Meta superintelligence effort. It's also worth noting here, keep an eye on the market, which is why I have it up right now. Caroline Leavitt, White House press secretary, just stepped onto the podium for the conference. So keep an eye on the market. Again, anything market moving can happen at these events. Back to you.
Yeah.
You got anything to finish on that?
Yeah, well, I mean, we're going to move on to Apple. Maybe I'll save it for Apple here. Sure. Okay. Actually, no, I mean, so what I just found out on Google, and I know it's not necessarily valid, but I think it's kind of just within the whole space there. Okay, all right. And it's kind of what I've touched on yesterday as well, too. Just pointing out the fact that Google, we're worried about their search engine and kind of the market share that I guess ChatGPT has stolen from them. Because I mentioned the Blue Link Society. We're not necessarily in that direction anymore. But OpenAI has 800 million weekly active users compared to Google's 5 billion. So, I mean, and now when you search, I've started to notice it. When you search on Google, they'll give you the Gemini answer too, and then you have the multiple links. So maybe that's
Let's see what OpenAI has to say. How much is Google search usage down from all-time highs? Now, I'm not putting the most advanced question into chat, but it's supposed to be able to answer very straightforward questions. Okay, so how much has usage dropped? Global market share fell below 90% for the first sustained period since 2025, dropping to 89.7%. That was back in March 2025. Desktop share dropped more sharply, though, Joseph, from a peak of 87.7 in May of 2023. It's down now to 79 to 80%. So that's almost a 10% drop off desktops, right?
But still 80% market share.
Absolutely. And but if it's a graph, are you punching at the lows? Just imagine it's a stock. You're putting in lower lows and lower highs.
That is fair. That is fair. But now that you have the Gemini in the regular search engine,
we're talking.
Right, in the search engine, Sundar, our guy Sundar, says, hey, this is going to lead to more searches and longer prompts, which can increase
I agree 100% with that.
The usage of
I got something
Google.
to say to that, though, but we got to go to Adira for a second.
So I actually have a little bit more on this as well with regards to the Meta story. So Bloomberg, again, reporting that Mark Zuckerberg wrote to employees about a bit of an update here to Meta's AI efforts. We've heard reports for weeks about the superintelligence team. Now, apparently, Mark Zuckerberg has confirmed to employees that these efforts are going to be called Meta Superintelligence Labs. The group is going to be led by Alexander Wang, former CEO of Scale AI, which Meta now has a 49% stake in, and apparently former GitHub CEO Nat Friedman will be co-leading this group with or Alexander Wang. It's unclear what Nat Friedman's professional role will be in it, but apparently he's helping Alexander Wang lead this Meta Superintelligence Labs group. So if I get more details, I'll let you know, but interesting stuff and very timely given that you guys are discussing it right now. Back to you.
Thank you for that, Adara.
Thank you very much.
Just before I get back into it, SYTA, shout out to, I can't even say your name anyway, ever since the YouTube updated the names, but this SYTA, it's one that we were joking around called Satea on Friday. It had a fantastic move up Friday, gave up the ghost though. Midday, it's on the rampage back to the high side today, again to the tune of about 37%, taking out $3, 320 high. SYTA, another small cap gapper. It's a former convict as well. We know this one very well. So keep your eye on that one if you're into the small cap gapper trade. But I wanted to say to you, yeah. Absolutely. Gemini will be far superior to the Google search, no question about it. The point, though, Joseph, is they were not first to market.
Nope.
In my humble submission, they don't have the best LLM. It still goes to OpenAI.
Fair.
I think there's a lot more added apps. Like, look at all these different apps we can add to OpenAI because people are making them. They're not making them en masse like they are for Gemini. So, yes, everything you're saying is right, but did they make a mistake by not being first to market? And they had DeepMind. That DeepMind had Baird. Remember I told you about Baird before Gemini? And they refused to release it because it was hallucinating. They thought it wasn't to the standard of a Google product. Well, OpenAI didn't give a you-know-what. They're like, let's just get this to market. So what? It's hallucinating. You know, we don't have a reputation that we worry about. Google clearly did. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. I mean, valid points there, Sharif. But let's actually break down Google.
Break it down.
We know that Google, out of all of these companies, have the most data out of any of them,
Absolutely.
right? So can that help them play catch up in this potential race? Yes, we know that ChatGPT is probably the best LLM. But because if they put this information and this data to proper use, I think that can put them in a solid trajectory to become that #1 LLM. And they have a lot of good stuff with just AI in general down the pipelines. We've seen that at the keynote. They have that thing where you can now try on close. They have the visual. They got a lot of good things in the pipeline. So I think that's going to help Google kind of just narrow this race down and just think about how competitive it actually is.
Everything you said is absolutely right. Google could be the better LLM, but what it comes down to, let's just call a spade, is the amount of active users.
Absolutely.
Right?
Absolutely.
And if the active users, month over month, it's OpenAI, it's not Gemini, well, Gemini could have the better model from an objective perspective, but if people aren't going there, they're not going there.
And from a resource standpoint, you can't deny what Google has. If you need anything, right, they got exactly. They will probably never have an issue with cash. So with that being said,
agree.
If they really want to take over this game, I think they have a good opportunity.
I think Google is like that company that gives you a footing or a hand into all the burgeoning technologies, whether it's robotics, whether it's AI, this, that, or the other. Autonomous obviously goes without question. So I think they're fantastic. And I've got nothing bad to say about Google here. It's which one is better currently.
Exactly.
Right?
Think about this race that is going on, really. It's actually phenomenal. I think that it's such a rarity that we're seeing these hyperscaler giants really essentially going head on against each other with just this unlimited cash flow. It's very interesting, and that's why I think that this bull market is going to continue, is because it's an AI race. Who can absorb the most amount of market share?
Fair, man. Fair. I respect that opinion. Shout out to Eduardo. Sharif, since Joe said catch up, it's a good moment to tell the joke of ketchup from Pulp Fiction. Adara sure knows it. I know, Eduardo, I haven't watched Pulp Fiction. It's yet another one of my more shameful I guess, facts that I haven't seen that movie. I know it's a.
You've never seen it? What?
Wow. I'll watch it. I have no problem, brother. I don't even remember the last time I sat down and watched an entire movie. I don't even remember.
Damn.
Yeah,
man.
Literally from the moment I wake up at 5 a.m. to the moment I go to sleep, almost every minute of my day is spoken for. Literally, except on the weekends. Yeah. Well,
there you go. And you're at the old boom. Tennis
hey,
court.
well there you go. I gotta get my tennis. I only played tennis once this weekend, which really upset me. I don't know.
You play every weekend? Do you like?
Ram
How about
plays
pickleball?
tennis.
How about pickleball? You like pickleball? You can play it outdoors.
You can play it outdoors, Ram. Yeah.
Yeah, they adjusted the tennis
It's like the
courts.
world's fastest growing sport, is it not?
Yeah, it was pretty.
My
Yeah,
understanding
it's
is-
sick. I like pickleball.
So sick. Well, they're just converting the old tennis courts into pickleball courts. You realize?
And I'm pretty sure most tennis courts have the pickleball court in it now too.
A lot of
it's just
them
like
do.
a smaller,
Yes.
it's just a smaller screen in there.
Let's
So
go
now
on
you know.
to
So
Apple,
now you
then,
know.
Joseph. Okay, before we start off with Apple, because this is going to be a long one, we're going to go to Adara for an update.
Yeah, I just want to mention here, we had someone at this Widows press conference actually ask questions about Trump's relationship with Fed Chair Powell, saying if he's unhappy with Powell's job, why does Powell not fire him? Widows press secretary said that that's a question for Donald Trump and not for her, but that I guess Donald Trump is rightfully frustrated that the rates have not been lowered because the economy is at a place where they should be. So again, just more updates here, more commentary on the back and forth between Fed Chair Jerome Powell and Donald Trump, President of the United States. Back to you.
We need new Donald. That was Donald 1.0, but we won't go there right yet.
Hit the I'm really rich.
Shout out to Pathek, man. Follow my tennis company, Tennis with a View. Screenshot. I'm going to follow you later, brother. Taking a picture of that text now so I can follow you later. Let's get on to Apple. So Apple today, Ming-Chi Kuo taking to X, formerly Twitter, to chime in on this AR glass situation. So let's get to it because there's a lot to talk about here. So Apple is expected to enter the smart glasses market with a new head-mounted device, but major display-enabled models will not arrive. Display-enabled models will not arrive until 2026. Early non-display, can you guys see that? Yeah. Early non-display smart glasses are expected to hit the market in 2027 with Apple forecasting shipments, and I'll show you why this number is big in a second. They're forecasting shipments of over 10 million units that year. The device will focus on audio playback, camera, video recording, AI sensing, gesture and voice controls, but will lack a visual display. Comparing brands, for example, Meta's Ray-Bans, they will likely establish an early market presence before Apple's full-scale entry. And we're going to talk about why 10 million units, to me, was a bit of an interesting thing here, because you're going to see what they're projecting for their most recent products. So Apple's XR glasses featuring these advanced displays like liquid crystal on silicone with a waveguide are targeted for mass production not until the second half of 2028. You don't want to see that if you're an Apple investor like myself. These glasses are expected to include AI-powered voice gesture and inference, and the success really hinges here on the AI functionality within the device. A display accessory tied to this device is actually scheduled for release in Q2 of 2026, reinforcing Apple's long-term roadmap in AR. So that's all great. What's coming out this year, 2025? We're going to get a new Vision Pro. So the next generation Vision Pro with the M5 processor is slated for mass production in Q3 of 2025, probably gets released, I'm assuming Q1 of 26 if the mass production starts in Q3, with about, listen to this, 150,000 to 200,000 units. And they're learning from their previous experience when they sold only about 300,000 of these. So when they say 10 million units per year in 27, that gets my attention because they're only forecasting about 150 to 200,000 of this new Vision Pro. Now, apparently, this new Vision Pro is going to be 40% lighter than the first version, which a lot of people complained was super front heavy and hurt their head after a while. And it's going to be powered by Apple's top-tier iPhone processor and uses new glass-to-plastic lens architecture. Not like I really understand what that is. A lower-priced Vision model is expected in the second half of 2028, offering broad accessibility and redesigned features for mass market appeal. The Vision Air headset with unchanged specs from the M2 is expected to enter production in Q3 of 2027. If there's one thing you got from this article, at least what I got, is Apple's freaking late. Now, is that different than prior years and prior releases for very similar products? My inclination is to say no. They certainly weren't first with the smartphone. They certainly weren't first with the tablet. They weren't first on anything, the MacBook Air, anything like that. So to me, it's displeasing because they should have been alert to this whole thing. I mean, don't tell me they don't have spies at Meta. Of course they do. They probably knew what Reality Labs was up to and that Zuck was really gung-ho about making a new form factor for, you know, other than a phone. So the reason why they have to be so late is just bewildering to me. I mean, I don't get it.
Yeah.
Why do you always have to be late to the party? Like, why is that part of your modus operandi? So whether or not that excites you, to me, you know, Apple is certainly not a buy at the moment, or maybe it is if you feel like there might be a runway.
Sharif, that's the thing, right? It's like
I need to see technicals.
you want to see the
I want to
technical
see higher highs, higher lows.
That's okay. I get that. That's fine, but I think a lot of the investors would agree when there's blood in the streets is really one of the time that you want to buy. And with these names, we see it time and time again. It's like, oh, okay, they have these headwinds in front of them. We know that Apple has never been first to the race, but I think that's at a prime time. I think it's a prime time to actually start to buy this stock at $200.
You're not
to be
wrong,
honest with you.
Joseph.
We've seen it in AMD. Who wanted to buy AMD at $75? Look at that from 75. It's up 100%. Like this name is too strong. We talked about the cash flow, but enough of that, guys. New traders, listen up. First month, free. That's right. We're waiving fees. Trade smarter, not harder. Upgrade to Elite. Analyze, strategize, capitalize. Our platform, it's everything. Infinite data, instant trading, lightning fast market insights, game-changing charts, predict with backtesting, reliable real-time data, global markets at your fingertips, all in one platform. Don't miss out. Execute your best trades now. Ready to elevate your trading? Scan the QR code or check the link in the description. Now back to onto what I'm getting at with Apple. It doesn't mean go all in at once. No, that's not the general idea, right? You don't want to go, oh, I have 10K. I have 10K I'm looking to allocate to a stock. I'm going 10K right away on Apple. No.
Yeah.
You go 2,500 here, 2,500 there, 1,000 here, 1,000 there, and then sure enough, you're positioned relatively well. Apple catches a couple tailwinds, and next thing you know, from 200, it goes up to 220. You're already 10% up from where you just were, or 5%, whatever it may be, right? But you understand what I'm getting
Absolutely,
at there. Yeah.
absolutely. To me, the only thing I gotta say, Joseph, is just prove to me that the downtrend is done.
Yep.
Show me some higher highs and higher lows, a clearing of a technical resistance level.
That's
just
fair.
so that you know the
That's fair.
technicals can jive with the fundamentals. They don't have to be contradictory.
Absolutely,
right?
absolutely.
Let's talk a little Zscaler here. This is one of the better if not the best performing, hands down, cybersecurity name on the year. I'm just going to verify that quickly. Bless you, Ram. Just looking over here to see where Zscaler is up on the year. Zscaler is up 73%, only outdone by Net. I'm not going to say who's in Zscaler because she doesn't want any notoriety, but keep your eye out on Zscaler. Here it is. Let's talk about what they did today. They're a little down, but to be fair, it's a little profit taking here. So Zscaler plans to offer $1.1 billion in convertible senior notes due in 2028 to qualified institutional buyers. That means the losers like us, Joseph, are not qualified institutional buyers. We need to be babysat by the government, who needs to make sure that we don't misspend our money because, you know, we're still dropping.
Did you do your local IBKR update or what?
What do you mean?
Did you fill up your annual? You have to update all your information.
It didn't prompt me to.
They didn't prompt you.
It didn't prompt me.
Well, you better check that out there, just in case.
This guy's like making me worried now. It didn't prompt me to, bro.
You know what I mean?
All right,
they'll take away your permissions.
I know, right? I think everybody's a little bit different, though.
I think so.
It depends on when you signed up, or is it like a yearly thing?
It's usually a
yearly thing. All right, I didn't get it yet. Full disclosure. Let's go on here. The notes will accrue interest payable semi-annually, maturing on the 15th of July, 2028, unless earlier converted or repurchased. The offering includes a 13-day option for initial purchasers to buy an additional $225 million of notes. So basically, they're raising money. Now, does it have any idea, or does it say anything here about what they're looking to use the money for? Yes. Zscaler may use proceeds to pay capped call transactions and for general corporate purposes. Where have we heard that before? Oh yeah, GameStop and buying Bitcoin, including working capital, mergers and acquisitions, and strategic transactions. So you got to give them a little bit of credit because they have done quite well. So if they want to raise some money and go to the private markets or the public markets here in this case, give them the leeway. All right, so a lot of different rating agencies today dropped coverage or initiated coverage on Circle, some with buys and some with positive ratings, some not. And give you a quick breakdown as to who did what over here. We can bring this down, show you super quick. So Circle got some love from Citigroup, Barclays, Canaccord Genuity, Bernstein, Needham. These guys all gave Circle the nod. These are initiate buys. Then when we go down over here, initiate sell hold. Deutsche Bank thinks they're crap. So does Goldman, Oppenheimer, JP Morgan as well. Is JP Morgan up here? No, it's not. So JP Morgan with the sell rating on Circle with an $80 price target. So you have some mixed analyst views here. Citigroup, Barclays, Canaccord, Bernstein, Needham, all basically giving Circle the nod, while Deutsche, Goldman, Oppenheimer, and JP Morgan think it's overpriced and no good. So Circle initiated over here by JP Morgan, $80 by late 2026. Adara.
We have some commentary coming through from White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt on the TikTok deal. Of course, we know that Donald Trump mentioned this weekend that he has some very wealthy people on watch to potentially buy TikTok, though he says he'll name them in about 2 weeks. Caroline Leavitt basically said here that there are ongoing TikTok discussions, if you will, between, I guess, the U.S. and China at the highest level, and that this 90-day extension to the TikTok ban is set to help work out this deal. Keep an eye on SNAP and META. With that in mind, these are like the two, I would say, biggest social media stocks on watch. META actually pushing a little bit lower, but Snapchat got a bit of a bump. I also want to mention here, check us out on X at TTV Research. I have this new infographic on Robinhood in honor of its To Catch a Token event that happened today. And as you can see here, this is just its quarterly revenue from 2020 to so far Q1 2025, including some highlights with the company's performance highlights and lowlights. So check this out on X at TTV Research. Back to the Bash Brothers.
Healthy.
I need that.
It's on TTV Research.
Yeah.
That's a healthy
there we go.
uptrend there. Look at the higher lows and higher highs. I mean, that's what I just viewed as a graph, right? Really? It's a chart.
Like, you know what I mean? The quarterly revenue, and then this is where we've seen that substantial growth right there. And that's what I'm pointing at it like you guys can see.
At the end, Q4 24.
Yeah, Q4 24 is essentially what I'm pointing at there. And when you see that, it's like, okay, boom, I'm involved in that because it's just substantial from that point. And that's, I think, the quarter where we've seen this 700% increase in crypto transactions, et cetera, et cetera.
And look at that Q4 2020 all the way down to Q3 2021. Makes absolute sense why it would move up there. Those were the COVID years.
Absolutely.
Everyone was making accounts, punching in long at the house. That was when GameStop and everything was running. So it makes absolute sense. Then the fantastic tail end of the Biden years where the economy was really pumping there. You can see it was absolutely flat. Go. I'm being facetious. Let's go ahead and talk about these banks because they were put to a stress test on Friday and they did quite well from what people are reporting here. So the Fed's stress test showed that major U.S. banks can handle severe downturn. 22 banks that were tested could absorb over $550 billion in losses, yet continue to be able to lend. Under the recession scenario, banks with Tier 1 capital ratios dropped 1.8 percentage points but stayed well above the required minimum. The top performing banks were your boy Goldman Sachs, Wells Fargo, M&T Bank. You also had strong performances, Joseph, from Bank of America and PNC Financial. The share buybacks are expected here because when you remove these CapEx requirements, capital requirements, Joseph, what has been said by a lot of these banks is they're going to be doing two things: raising the dividend payable to shareholders, as well as adding value back in your pockets vis-a-vis share buyback. So that is expected as soon as we do get that deregulatory push coming in the second half of this year.
Yeah, absolutely, guys. Robinhood, I don't even know. Everybody's in the chats mentioning this name. We were just talking about it, and look at this stock here. We're now going to head towards $93. Like, oh my days, like, Katina man. He's got Palantir. I got Robinhood, man. This is what a battle of the titans right there, Sharif, on these two names. Yeah, we really like this. And look at this big time move right here. What is this from a percentage metric on the day? Up 10% almost on the day. Like, oh, what a fantastic buy. And like, that's the thing, right? As I just sit in these chairs with you guys, and I learned I want to thank you guys as well too, because, and the man next to me and everybody else in this room, I want to thank them, but they just push, to just be better, understand the fundamentals and the technicals. I know a lot of traders, if they're trading, just intraday trading, they're like, no, I don't really follow fundamentals, and that's fine. To each their own, but in my opinion, at times they really, really do matter, and there's a reason why stocks move. Obviously, you have the outliers like GameStop, AMC, you have that meme and that cult type price action, but at the end of the day, you want to focus on names like Robinhood, especially when the earnings report are just substantially blowing through the analyst estimates, and that's what's been happening with Robinhood. So yeah, having a great time with that, and we've seen it in the likes of NVDA as well too. During their growth cycle, it's like they're just blowing growth. They're just blowing through growth. Revenue expectations are just substantially higher than that. Same with EPS estimates and everything along those lines. It's just that it's continuous beats, and that's what the street wants to see: a surprise, surprise, surprise. Are you surprising us with your fundamental numbers? And then that's when you see that big time movement in some of these names. And I use the reference of JP Morgan with Silicon Valley Bank. Everybody remembers SVB. That was the first stock that I ever seen delisted. I've never seen anything like that before. JPM acquires the book. Look what happens preceding that. The quarters preceding that. Whatever they did, they go through a growth cycle, and then boom, JPM has just been on a monster run ever since then. So yeah, SVB was a very interesting times. There's no question about that. I remember I was watching that name, everyone shorting the name, and then just at the end of the day, boom. It was just gone, just like that. They said, see you later. AC Slater said one of my friends in the chat who seems to, Sippo Sunshine. I remember that name. But the thing is here, guys, with the Qs, and this is tough. This is really tough price action to sit through. We've essentially done nothing. You can't break down, you buy back up, you run into the support level, you're a couple pennies in the money, then you're back out of the money, and then it's just the ebbs and flows of what's kind of currently going on right now. I wouldn't be surprised if we fill this gap, and maybe we get it by the end of the day, but we would need some form of catalyst in order for us to do so. But right now, it's not looking like we will. We need the mag to break down in order for us to get that gap fill. We have filled up around 40 to 60%. I would more along the lines of 60% of this gap. But that's the potential trade here. We've now entered it. We haven't broken and held VWAP to the top side for an extended period of time, I guess maybe 15, 20 minutes, and then you come back below it. Let's see if we reject one more time, double top up here through some of these pre-market pivots, and that's going to be the primary objective. If we can hold the TQs to fill this gap or even south of this low of the day, then that's when we're going to start to take profit. Otherwise, it's either stop out for a loss. Exactly. It's either feast or famine right now, and that's just how your boy's feeling on the day. So,
you probably should make your way back there.
There's a lot of chicken.
There's a lot.
There
may not be that much.
Is it good?
Is it actually good, Obi?
Obi says it's so good. All right.
So good.
Jamming with Joe. Obi, rate the chicken on a scale of 1 to 10. 7.5.
7.5. That's a statement.
I mean, that is a big time statement. I'm going to be the judge of that one. You guys are going to get the new hottest segment out there, Jamming with Joe, after the show.
I love it.
And then we'll give the food a solid rating.
Hey. All right. Yeah. There's a plethora of chickens.
Yeah.
So there's we got free dinner.
Yeah, I know.
I see no one's back there. I'm like,
hey, you filled the old container up.
Oh, baby, did I?
Yeah.
All right. All right, here we go. We're long 26.44 on BNM or like a psycho. And here comes 27. Seller at 27. Can we get 33s? That's where I'm waiting. Reject 27 all the way back down. Into the 60s. So I'm long at the little bit south of the $0.50. I'm waiting for this one to see if we can kind of take out that 30.50 area. I've given about $1 worth of room there. We're not going to really look to DCA into this. Let's see if it can kind of decisively clear 27. It's had a lot of support here at the 20 exponential moving average on the 5. It does have a seller here at 80, 26.80, so it drops back down. I'm just going to give this one room. If it loses that $25 area, we'll get out. Patrick, Jam71, thank you very much, my friend, for the $4.99, $5 super chat, essentially, saying, nice rounded booths on Amazon. Thoughts? I don't know what a rounded booth is. Do you know what a rounded booth is?
I'm guessing the bottom's around there.
Oh, okay. Let's give it a, okay, let's check on Amazon. Let's see if the rounded bottom is, in fact, manifesting on AMZN. AMZN. Let's see on the 5. Yeah, a little bit, my man. Okay, so interesting look here. You're going to support at 219 generally, and right up into 220 we go. So let's see what this one does. I mean, it's a downtrend for me on Amazon. That you may have broken that downtrend, though. That was a very, very kind of respectful rejection of the level. It kept, you know, coming into that trend line, rejecting, and it looks like it has decisively taken that out now. So possibly a move back into VWAP at around 221.5. We'll have to wait and see. I don't really trade these large caps anymore, so I'll deflect that answer to your boy Joey Options. But yeah, I do see what you're seeing there with that kind of double bottom into that breach of 219 a quarter. It holds the 219 half or whole dollar, and right back up into 220 it goes. The next level of resistance I see is probably 221.5. Joseph, what do you have on your end there?
Yeah, on Amazon, yeah, I mean, I took a stab at it. There was definitely an opportunity to take another move on there, but I just added to a short on the TQs. That doesn't work. I don't know why I do those things sometimes. You got to take that a second attempt right there, guys, because there is another form of indecision. This was just a pure liquidity grab. I actually posted a stop order. It grabs it. I'm literally, the problem, the last wick here, it decides to grab me and then goes on the move. That's why you got to get right back in, right? So if you guys don't think it's rigged, then I don't know what else to say, because what are the chances of my stop being right at the low and then the stock turns around? So just keep that in mind, right? You got to take those second opportunities. Unfortunately, I didn't do it, but look how much better your risk to reward ratio would be. Now you could just use the exact same thing. You get right back in after you get stopped out as soon as this candle opens up at the top end of this range, and then there you go. You're only risking a couple pennies, and then you get this nice big time move to the top side there on Amazon. But yeah, let's go. So I'm talking about the Qs here as well, guys. Again, I was slightly out of the money. Now you're back in the money. So which way are we going to break down? If NVDA wants to break through some of these, the resistance zones, the double top that it's formed, and you see some of the other mag names start to slightly pull back, then you're going to want to hop out of the Q short. But is this a short signal on Robinhood? I think so. There's a potential here, guys. As you can see, we have that gravestone, that inverted hammer, whatever you would like to call it, shooting star, whatever it may. But that's a nice one as we climbed right into that 93.35 level. Now let's take a look at the chain to see why we rejected right there. Is there any substantial size on Robinhood, or are we going to continue this free flow to the top side? And at 93, there is absolutely no size. So this name, in my opinion, will continue to climb. What is that next level of high open interest? That is going to put us at that 95 strike by the end of the week. The way Robinhood is moving, I think that can definitely be in the works there, Sharif.
Yes,
and
sir.
I don't even know. It's like, do I start trimming this thing? Because Robinhood has substantially outpaced everything in my long-term portfolio in a fraction of the time. Do I cut a little bit and allocate some other things that are slightly lagging? Katina Man says, yes, Sharif, what do you say? Do I trim some Robinhood up here and then grab some more of other things? Or do I continue to hold on?
I'd wet the beak. I'd go with what the Katina Man just said.
He says trim.
Yeah.
All right. We're going to go to Adara, and then we're going to get Obi's opinion. Do you trim or not? The next hottest segment.
I mean, we'll have to wait and see what happens with the trimming. But right now, let's talk about solar, because we do have commentary coming from White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt answering questions about how President Trump feels about the solar aspects of the One Big Beautiful Bill, which you mentioned earlier, specifically with regards, I guess, to taxes. Caroline Leavitt at first didn't really seem to understand what part of the bill they were talking about, then deferred any questions to Trump. So we didn't really get any resolution here, but just be aware, some of these solar names, Enphase, RUN, FSLR, First Solar, could all be on watch here. Again, we do have, I guess, on watch solar names as we have some questions about solar provisions within the Big Beautiful Bill. Back to you.
for that. Okay, so we have a wet the beak from Katina Man. We have a wet the beak from Sharif. Now, Obi, does Joe trim some of his Robin Hood and grab some other things, or do we continue on this roller coaster ride to the top side?
Tell us, Obi.
We're around 93 bucks. Trim or no trim, Obi?
He's looking at the
He's
TA,
looking at the looking at the chart. I'm in at like 40s.
It is all-time
so
high.
trim or no trim? I would say there's no reason to Bang. All right, no trim, so no wet the beak from Obi. Continue to hold on to it, says Obi, until that trend breaks, and just continued on this monster roller coaster ride. So there it is, your trim or no trim.
I love it.
Joe?
I love it. All right. I was going to cover something over here. Fat pipe. I mean, it's moving. It's up 17%, but it's got like no volume, guys. It's done 72,800 shares. I mean, come on. That's a tough one right there. I don't think you can punch into that safely. What's the spread? 850 on the bid, 916 on the ask. So, yeah, not exactly a growing endorsement on that one. So, I mean, I don't have anything on at the moment. They're mostly, by they, I'm talking about the small cap gappers, are really giving up the ghost here. The only ones that are above the volume weighted average price, BMNR, that we just got stopped out from right now, is at loss of 20 exponential, as well as VOR. That one is still well above the 20 exponential. It's definitely got a buyer at the $0.5.
Oh, wow. What happened right there? We just got a big time spike in the market. Yeah, something's going on, a massive volatility spike. I was short, and I'm like, okay, yeah, nice, we're starting to work. And then you get this big, sorry to interrupt you there, by the way, but yeah. Something happened right there. We got a big time volume spike, and I don't know if it's across the board, but in the overall market, you've seen that. I'm like, okay, we're starting to work. We're heading into some key support levels. We get that volume spike, and right now it seems that the bulls are going to be dominating. Because I have more size on this trade, I have to be really, really cautious on what's going on here. And if I have to punch out, I have to punch out extremely quick. So let's see what Adara's got for us.
Not much. I just want to let you guys know there was one thing that came around the time of that spike that could be of note. Fed's Goolsby, he was supposed to start speaking at 1. I'm only getting my first comments from him now, so it's unclear if he started late or if there just wasn't anything market moving earlier. Regardless, he said that he does not see any prospect of 1970s-style stagflation, but said that the Fed is worried about the possibility of both inflation and employment getting worse at the same time. So it's a little bit cautious. Now we have another comment that could be what's moving this market here. We have the EU reportedly accepting Trump's universal tariff, but they're seeking key exemptions. Again, we have the EU reportedly accepting Trump's universal tariff, but seeking key exemptions. If I get any more details on the story, I'll let you know, but it's a pretty big deal. Previously, the EU said they were not going to be accepting any universal tariff. Back to you.
That was crazy. I should have left a little bit of a runner there. But we got slightly too excited. But it is what it is. We got all out of the shares as we dumped down. Should have posted up a little bit through some of these the support levels. But now I think that gap is going to get filled to the downside here, especially with this volume stepping in right there. So yeah, added substantially right there on this trade right here. Never came back to my stop, and then boom, it goes against me. I'm reading some things in the chat. You get that volatility spike, but then as soon as we crack through some of these support levels, and then we get that aggressive move back to the top side, I'm like, all right, just take it for what it is right now. So that one worked out for us.
All right, we're going back to Adara. She's got more news, Joseph.
Yeah, Trump posted on Truth Social just now, and it has to do with Japan. I can just read it because it's about tariffs and trade to show people how spoiled countries have become with respect to the United States of America. And I have great respect for Japan. They won't take our rice, all caps, and yet they have a massive rice shortage. In other words, we'll just be sending them a letter, and we love having them as a trading partner for many years to come. So as we know, sometimes when we get these volume spikes, it can't be related to Truth Social posts. There's a very, for lack of a better term, mixed post here about Japan and trade from Donald John Trump, the President of the United States. Back to you.
In case you forgot what his title was, Joseph, you know, he's got to let you know. Donald Trump, President of the United States.
Just in case they didn't know.
I don't know what to say to that. I don't know what to say to that. Look, I think, you know, he's doing the same thing over and over, right? Which is if you conflict with any of his policies or anything that he deems to be contrary to the interests of the United States, he's going to attack you.
Do you think people are going to start calling out his bluff?
But he's not bluffing, though. That's the
he's
thing.
for real,
Like, if
right?
you piss him off, he's going to levy the tariffs against you, and
then-
come what may. Like, I wouldn't want to challenge him. Again, I think his biggest strength, and I've maintained this from day one, is his unpredictability.
Yep.
You don't know what the hell he's going to do, even when you think you know what he's going to do. Like, yeah, of course. Oh, it's the same playbook. Okay, I'll just threaten you with tariffs. All of a sudden, he's coming at you a different way.
Okay, I'm Mark Carney. You're Donald Trump.
Right.
3% digital tax. What are you going to do?
But again, that was not put in by Mark
No, it
Carney, and
wasn't,
you
but it
know
was-
that.
yeah,
It was put in by
the
Justin Trudeau.
22.
But as I was saying to Adair this morning, I thought Carney strategically kept it in place. Think about this, right? So we know that Carney is not negotiating in public. He's made that very clear. He's not going to give you the details on the
not.
Canadian side.
That's
Wait.
Yeah.
And Donald's on his side, even though he can claim, I got them to remove the digital sales tax, he's not going to tell you what he gave up.
No.
But we know that there's something behind the scenes that the Americans probably let go, that they wanted in negotiations for Carney to back up on that. But you're not going to hear that from Canada because they won't negotiate in public. And then Donald Trump is not going to tell you what he gave up.
No.
Why would he tell you that?
Exactly. He's going to even tell you what he gained.
Absolutely,
right?
Assassino.
And that's why, and I think that's why I kind of, that's one thing. That's one positive thing about Carney is
I like Carney.
You're not going to see him on X or anything like that, or on
And
True
vote for him.
Social,
I like him.
or True Social, or anything along those lines. But yeah, there we go.
Looking to trade futures like the Nasdaq, the SPY, or even Bitcoin, Top One Futures is one of the fastest growing prop firms out there, guys. They give traders a chance to manage up to $1 million in capital, and you pick your own path. You can choose instant funded, you can choose challenge or pro account, and start trading your way to real payouts and even a live account. In the last 90 days alone, they paid out over $10 million and earned over 1,000 plus 5-star reviews from real traders. So if you're interested, use that discount code TTV to save on any account. So if you're interested, again, scan that QR code or head to top1futures.com and start trading towards your next payout. All I gotta say is money. Only reason I'm here is because of that animation. I would harass, annoy, chase the Katina Man daily on the show when I was a viewer. Katina Man, it's been 15 minutes and I haven't gotten a money spin. What's going on?
What's going on?
So I'm just joking about that. Joseph,
Yeah,
see what time it is?
I do see what time it is.
How much extra do we got in the bank?
You know what? I'm gonna let them off this one.
Oh,
you know why?
wow.
You know why?
Feeling
Sharif?
good
Here.
today, huh?
Because that, and I'm like, imagine I got to do this all day, every day.
Oh, yeah, that's right, you do.
Spin it. Money.
Great show, too.
Yes, sir.
Shortened week, obviously, guys. Joseph and I will be on Thursday, but we're going to be on for 1 hour from 11 to 12. And then, obviously, you guys know the market closes at 1.
Why are you looking? Hold
Why
on.
is she
Why
looking at us
are you
like
looking
that,
at
bro?
us like that, though? Pardon?
Whoa.
Ooh.
Whoa.
Oh, hey.
Saw that, huh?
Yeah,
Okay.
watch out.
I thought she was
Watch
married,
out.
bro.
Yeah, hey.
Katina Man.
Oh, remember that one time she said, she said you can still score with a goalie? Remember that? Do you remember that quote from Ramin? I remember
believe
that.
it. I
I
believe
remember
that.
that quote
I believe
from
that.
Ramin, which is crazy. But my guy's looking fresh over there. Let's pull up the new look. My guy, the styled one, Sean Katina, man.
You're going to see him in a second.
Yeah.
Peace.
What did I do? What did I do?
I don't know.